Hello, everybody. Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, they're right. That happened. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
The calendar rolled over again.
Yeah. Still waiting for, I guess, April 2020 to resume. You know, I, we're
Which
currently
one?
we're currently in
My
the in
birthday?
no, like March 2020 started and then never ended.
Oh,
And
I started that in December of 2019.
I mean, I guess I counted as March as to when like the actual pocket dimension opened up. Yeah. So happy 2020 part 3, everybody. Um Good times. Anyway, I had a very very busy week full of things. How was yours?
I fucking took the week off and was like, fuck it.
It's good.
And I discovered a couple things. The number one of which is that Twitch's rerun feature is complete fucking garbage.
What is that? Oh, is that the replay compilation that you have to opt in
Yeah.
on?
So no, it's the ability to go and be like, play one of your streams as a rerun, right? Just load it up as
Replay.
if it's brand.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so what I thought I was gonna do is the wonderful Civ Sarcast made some Ratchet and Clank compilations of my channel.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, I'm taking the week off. I might as well put these up on Twitch and pretend they're like, a new thing. Because
Live,
they're
yeah.
kind of a new thing.
Mhm.
So I upload them to Twitch, and then I go to add them to the rerun queue, and it goes, no, you can't. They're not published. You can't add them to the rerun queue because they're not published. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, sure. So then I publish the first one and then go rerun. And I go, okay, so it's starting. And then at the end of the first one, it starts playing the second one that I added to the rerun queue, but told me it couldn't play because it wasn't published. And it's still not published. And it's not actually in the queue at all.
Yeah. Okay, so
Like, what an absolute piece of fucking shit.
every time a tournament does a rebroadcast of something, I notice that they just stay live and then they themselves play their own video back.
Yeah, if ever I'm gonna ever like say, because I've been fucking around with this stuff because I did the Elden Ring test and I got that, but that was like everything about that embargo was based around like people who make videos
Mm-hmm.
and not people who make streams.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been fucking around with pre-recorded stuff. I'm like, well, what if I get Elden Ring 2 weeks early? I'm not gonna not play Elden Ring, but I want people to see the first blah blah blah. So how do I do it? And the solution is make a fucking MP4 and play it off my
Play it
desktop.
off your desktop.
And
That's the
how
move.
is that the best solution?
Well, I guess it's what I've seen every other stream do up until now, not using that feature, and I assume they know something that we didn't know. They know something we don't know, and they're clearly avoiding the feature as well.
Oh god. And I was looking into it and I was like, oh, what's premieres? And then you find all these fucking articles on how Twitch premieres work, and like you can't find it, and then like 10 pages into Google search is like a single sentence tweet that's like, yeah, Twitch turned off premieres, they no longer exist.
There's one thing that you know works for sure, and that's the live button. So hit the button and then play the MP3 or the MP4.
Just awful. Just awful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um.
that was pretty much my whole week. I basically just chilled out.
Okay. It's good. It's important to do that.
Oh, you know what? I beat Castlevania Circle of the Moon. No, no. Ha! Bloodstained Circle of the Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game's great.
I think you were right the first time, actually.
Yeah, it's like, though I've also been playing. I streamed Bloodstained on Saturday, and like those are the most, like, big air quotes, spiritual successor of anything
Mm-hmm.
I've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
And at this point, like, I'm wondering like if anyone that actually worked on Castlevania could look at this and be like mad at that, you know? Because it's the only like because it's like what are they doing with it otherwise, right? It's a spiritual successor when the original has nothing going on. So
They're licensing it out to make animes.
true. Well, I guess if you call that anime, but yeah,
It's not anime.
yeah, I guess I does it matter? Does it is it just does it matter what the country of origin is, or I don't know what.
I always interpreted it as like the style.
Okay. Well, there's I've seen like I've seen whiffs of an argument online about like it does Avatar count as an anime, and
Yeah.
it, there's the style, and I guess there's like so, but then what about stuff that looks like the style but it's clearly not, like Totally Spies or a Marvin Mystery?
I don't know about that, but I feel like you know it if you see it. Like, to those people who say like Avatar and Castlevania can't be anime because they're not made in Japan, like what do you call animated TV shows that look like
That are
anime
not.
from Korea?
Yeah. Or the studios are not from there either, right? Exactly.
Like
No,
I
the
like
I have
I don't
I'm not
feel
gonna.
comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with some people's classification that the people gotta be Asian making the
Right.
thing for it to be called anime.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I would ask, I would defer to everyone else on this one because I have no fucking idea what the definition of it is or isn't, or how far it stretches. But it's just it's been something that was easy. It's been easier to define in the past because it's like, oh yeah, animation coming out of Japan is that's the anime, and like now that's gotten way blurrier.
Well, it used to
And
be Japanimation.
yeah, exactly. But also, there's stuff that comes out of Japan that does not have the anime style, right? And it's like, okay, so what do you call something like, I guess, like almost colorful it was an anime back in the day that had like a very non-traditional anime look, or Ping Pong Club.
You know what anime is popular in Japan, I bet? SpongeBob.
Sure, sure.
Anime might be the most like unuseful, confusing word in regards to anime because it's literally the Japanese took the French word
Mm-hmm.
for cartoon
Of course.
and used it, and it's like super broad. But then when we took the now Japanese term of the French term, it
Yeah,
became specific.
but that
What a
that that
mess.
but that applies to everything, right? The connotation and the denotation of every word they borrow ends up being different. For example, if I say a 7-Eleven, that's one thing. If I say a dépanneur, you kind of have the same idea. Similarly, if I say a bodega,
A lot more smokes on that debonair.
there's a, yeah. If I say a bodega, you're getting again the specific New York flavor.
What is that,
If I
East Coast? Yeah.
New York, yeah. And if I say
New York.
if I say a conbini, that's a
Yeah.
very specific thing. That's not the other things I just mentioned. So like and it's convenience store. But if I say convenience store versus conbini, that's two different things. So the borrowed word thing already changes definitions constantly. I just didn't in my brain. I looked at the Netflix cartoons as just like Netflix animations. I didn't. My brain didn't say anime, but I have no fucking clue, man. A bunch of
Anyway,
them
they're
are.
not doing shit with Castlevania.
That's the
The
point.
point.
That's
They're
the
not
point.
doing a goddamn thing.
Yeah, I think what you have to do is pull up the. I'm sure someone has a lawful good to chaotic evil chart of like adheres to the form and adheres to the location as the X and Y axis. So like made in Japan versus made anywhere is the chaotic version, and then adheres to the form versus like does not adhere to the form at all is the lawful and evil.
Gargoyles is an isekai.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you exactly how much Konami is not doing with Castlevania. We remember the Advanced Collection came out.
Mm-hmm.
I was contacted by a third-party rep to do a sponsored stream for the Castlevania Advance Collection. And they're like, what's your rate? And I'm like, this is my rate. They're like, cool. We want you to do up to 3 streams of this for each game per your rate. And I go, oh, cool. I'll just do it all on Sunday. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, cool. Send me the thing. And then they didn't get back to me the next day or the next day or the next day. And then Friday at like fucking 7:30 p.m. Eastern, they sent me a fucking email. It's like, we're unfortunately going to have to back out on this one. Sorry.
Hey, do you know what my version of that exact exchange was?
What's that?
Same thing. Here's my rate. Cool.
You did the same thing?
All right. Never mind. Okay. Well, that's fine. All right. Is what it is. So, hold on. So, is that why you played Bloodstained?
No, that's why I was. Somebody asked me if I had any desire to play the Advanced Collection games.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not now!
Okay, because
now I'll never play them on stream.
The timing of that is...
No, that was like upon the release of the Advanced games.
Certainly.
That was like way back.
Oh, I'm talking about like, for me it was like not that long ago, but...
Oh, yeah? No, for me it was like right on... Stop that. I don't know what you're doing, but stop it.
That's funny. It's funny to hear about these behind the scene things, and you're like, is it just me, or is that... No.
It's
all
like,
right.
Here's the rate, and they're like, cool, great, let me just send it over. And I'm like, did you actually say it was cool, or did you just say to me that it was cool before checking with anyone that it was cool? And then when they got back to you, they were like, fuck that.
Yeah, so I think we had the exact same experience, like in parallel there. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What is interesting? There's a lot of things that I did over the last 7 days, and I want to be able to touch on each of them in at least the appropriate amount of time. So
okay, let's do it.
Step 1. Hey, you know what? That Silent Hill game is pretty all right.
Yo, so I skimmed a couple clips, in particular your wondrous goofy moment coming out of a fucking room, and then there's just a doctor right there. Dude, that game holds up so good.
I'm very, very impressed with the hold up, I have to say. I was expecting there to be more like age and dust to blow off of it. Now, here's the thing. While the age shows itself constantly, but that's just in the form of me guessing exactly what the game's about to do. Right? It's just like, oh yeah, I know this formula without even knowing this formula. Right?
Yeah, I obviously there's better examples, but in my mind I always call that the Evangelion problem, where people who go back to Eva and go, oh man, this is just the same thing as this and this and this. It's like, well, yeah, because they took it from this, because this is old. Silent Hill totally has that going on, where it's like, oh man, this is a little formulaic. Yeah, because everybody copied it.
And there's definitely there's been a couple moments of like, what the fuck is the interaction between this object and this location? This is complete nonsense.
Well, that is not a function of age.
Sure.
That actually is a function of their bizarre,
so silly
method of puzzleology or whatever.
Yeah, and people make reference to like, it's interesting because I'm seeing people make reference to being in sync with Silent Hill's bullshit or not, and it's like, okay, so I think currently Reggie and I we're fairly in sync for the most part with the bullshit. But there's some of them where I'm just like, man, like you could have taken one of the dumbest things and fixed it with like, for example, what was it? It was like scrape the fucking bottle on the ground by this fluid,
right?
And it gets in there somehow, and I'm like, well, well, I'm like, what does that look like, right? And I'm like, all you had to do was just say use a rag to squeeze it in there, and now
Well,
we don't have to think about what that actual act of scraping fluid into a fucking 2 liter looks like, you know?
fun fact, it's more of a goo.
Okay.
And that's intentionally, that specific one is the most obtuse one in the game for a reason.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that's the one that got me going. Video game, like, come on, you know. So, well, in any case, there were a couple others that are like, yeah, not as extreme as that. I would say like a classic is like the sliding bookshelf. You got to look at the ground to see the texture, but in this case, like that, it's such a it's a really small detail. It's hidden in the back. It's not an obvious thing, you know. And there's a bunch of other rooms where you ran past furniture that was kind of nothing. So, you know, your brain would kind of just like overlook it in that particular area. But in any case, you can just go, all right, it's whatever. There's some time on this. You know, there's a little bit of dust to blow off. But it looks great. It still has the really strong aesthetic with like all the objects and the low poly designs. You know, your tank controls are something that I'm getting used to, and I'm able to like play footsies with some of the fucking monsters and shit, and it's like, oh, okay, like you're clearly meant to have trouble with this, but you know, you can figure out how to do a little cute hop back step and get just out of range of an attack.
There's a couple details I want to mention about that. So first of all, it's like the only game I can think of ever that has tank controls that have dedicated buttons for moving slowly to your left or right directly. It's weird. I don't know why they're there. The game actually has like a lot more depth to its controls than it appears. Enemies do react to the light sources you have, and they do react to the sound of your footsteps. So like in like the school, you can turn your flashlight off and like slowly walk past a large amount of the enemies.
Oh, interesting.
But you can't see them, and if they're within like 2 feet of you, they'll aggro anyway.
I did notice light was a thing, and that there was at least 1 or 2 circumstances where I kind of turned the light off and like ran into an alleyway and just killed a fucking thing that walked in there and then walked out, you know?
So the puzzles, man, like you're completely dead on with, you have to put yourself in sync to its like weird like nightmare logic. Like Silent Hill is a place where you use a can opener to open up a can of beans, and it's got a bunch of light bulbs in it.
Right. Okay.
And you use the light bulb to put screw in a new light so you can read the code on the wall. And like, yeah, of course that was the solution.
But okay, but here's the thing. But I don't mind the part where there was a note on the ground that said these beans will enlighten you. You know, like that's the thing is, like, if I read that, then I'm like, oh no, this puzzle's fine. Like,
no. So Silent Hill 1 also has a distinction of being one of the, as a child that you used like strategy guides, like tips and tricks as a child to get past tougher survival horror games. Silent Hill 1 bears the distinction of having the most aggressive fuck you to magazines ever. In that the review code they sent out had 100% completely different puzzles than the final shipped release.
That's pretty hilarious.
So all this, like, I have a tips and tricks. I used to have a tips and tricks that was like all these solutions to puzzles that just don't exist.
Interesting.
With screenshots of puzzles that don't exist.
Wow. Okay.
And it's like, man, why you do that?
Don't let them ruin it for the player. Interesting. Yeah, I the so far that stuff where it's like this is a dedicated stop and figure this out moment has been fairly straightforward. I didn't find that stuff to be too tricky. The if anything, for example, and what I didn't find the, so there was like there's the the obtuseness of like, what the fuck is this rubber ball for? And it's like, of course, stick it in this hole by the,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, that, yeah. So that part,
totally.
but like that part, not as bad for me in particular as like, oh, going, okay, where did that key go? You know? And it's like, well, the key fell down the drain pipe, but I didn't walk into the corner of the courtyard and see that drain pipe earlier. So like I was missing the second piece of information for that, like that puzzle.
Right.
So then it
So,
was like, uh-oh.
Silent Hill enemies aren't actually very dangerous most of the time. They kind of expect you to be running laps around the place repeatedly, checking and rechecking things.
I found that, yeah, there's a lot of instances where it's like, fuck this, especially on the proper city map, in tight hallways or corridors where you're going to be traversing through a bunch of times. Might want to spend the ammo on it. And in the rooms where it's like, okay, there's 3 nurses right there or some shit like that, that it's like, I'm just going to sprint in, see if I can find something.
Oh yeah, shooting anything on the street is like a complete waste of time.
But I did, again, I did get the specific hang of the footsies with the hammer and the ability to
Hammer's great.
Take a back step, and then it has a move set. It's got the 2 swing and then the straight overhead, which goes a little further. It's just interesting how like it can, like, you're really bad at killing cockroaches.
Yeah,
you know,
really bad.
But yeah,
hammer rules.
So far, game good, and so far, like the clear intentions of like, this area is bullshit, sir. You're supposed to keep moving. Like, it's the loudest and clearest it's ever been. When you are, what did I leave off on? I got to the southern part of the map, and then was running by the 2 warehouse areas by the dock, and then there's like a lighthouse. And like, as you run, or as you do a circle around the warehouse, and like 8 things are chasing you, and it's just like, yeah, no, don't.
There's horrible industrial nightmare music going off.
Don't be here. Yeah. Yeah. But then you're questioning, like, but is there some ammo over there? You know? And
I doubt there's 8 enemies worth of ammo over there.
Yeah, no, the answer is, who cares? Fuck this, you know?
So let me ask you a question. Did you so where are you at now? You're at the amusement park-ish?
I got to that, so I passed the warehouses, I went towards the lighthouse, met Sybil in the boat, and then gyromancy fucking lady,
as foretold, yeah,
walked out and went, rah, and then we were like, okay,
right.
and then she said, go to the lighthouse.
Okay, so would you shut up, dog? You got the goo off the floor?
I did get the goo off the floor.
Did you do the side mission with Kaufman?
He got real angry about us fucking with a motorcycle.
Okay, good.
So
that's it.
Okay.
If you want, I can give you a unlockable whatever tip later on.
Okay. I honestly, I think we're good.
I think you are, actually.
Yeah. So, like I told everyone beforehand, whatever you might want to send my way, the answer is, we're just gonna play. And like, if it ever is abysmal, Reggie is sitting there, and he does have a spoiler-free guide in his lap.
Then you're good.
Yeah, if the situation becomes dire and we're about to waste like multiple episodes on some obtuse like door that I missed or something. But so far that has not happened, and it's been pretty smooth. I even walked all the way north and entered that antique shop, and I went, holy fuck, that's the antique shop in Shattered Memories. Yeah, because I'm like, that's the only other one I played, and it
kinda.
Well, I mean, it looks similar, and it was in a similar location, and I remember walking down that staircase at the very least, you know. So I was like, oh, that reminds me of Shattered Memories at the very least, you know.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3 hold up like just excellently,
and it especially is great when I like looking at old low poly models of like household objects.
Yeah,
You know,
like a lamp.
yeah, a lamp, a fridge. You go into someone's house and you're looking at like their little, you know, their little dining set. It's just a fun little thing, you know. It's like, oh, look at the aesthetic of that. Good job with the textures, fun stuff. Um, all in all, yeah, so far so good. How about that?
That game's great.
It holds up. Um, okay, so there was that.
Can you give me just a second? I gotta take the dog upstairs.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
Right. So, anyway, that was a very funny experience, and also the um, someone even reached out and was like, "Hey, so I don't know if you want or care, but like when the time comes, if you're interested in Silent Hill 2, it's the PC version is so fucked up. Here's a pre-modded one with like all the fixes for controllers and fog and lighting and all this other shit." And
It's
I was
called the
like,
Enhanced Edition.
I have no, I don't know. I didn't.
Could you have that guy message me for some reason? Because
Okay.
I found the game installed on my computer and can't find the source files for it.
Oh, okay. Here. I can just,
And I feel stupid
I can just.
because I must have deleted the original source files.
That should be, that should be good right there.
Oh boy, I can't wait to not use this.
Okay. Well. Yeah, but it just it was interesting because it's just like, okay, that's already set up, and I'm already hearing about how rough that can get with like certain like scares getting ruined and shit like that, you know.
2 is like one of the absolute most fucked up games to try and play nowadays. It was a regular ass PS2 game And outside of that slim context, it's a nightmare to actually get going.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this is the way to do it. Okay. So there was that. Other stuff was I played Mortal Shell, which was that Souls-like that came out a while ago.
How much of it did you play? I played about 3 hours and was like, yeah, okay.
I went further than that. I played about 5 or so hours, and I have to say that like it helps that like I came across the stuff that I like. I think I was very lucky with like how I moved forward into that, because like I touched it a little bit before doing the stream, and I think first of all, so it's a Souls-like type of game. It's a mini, much shorter experience according to how long to beat, anyways. The main thing I think that it's distinct with is that the way you block is not a shield, but it is a hardening system in which you can turn your whole body to stone at any point while you're on the offense. And I thought that was interesting because that allows you to basically, instead of blocking, choose when to give yourself armor or iframes and then keep your combo going if you want to, right? Keep your momentum. So it's a more advanced usage of defense. It's pretty interesting. And then there's the parry, which is how you heal. Otherwise, healing things are all really slow, life gem style things. So it's like, okay, I like that sort of, hey, you're going to need to learn how to do these things properly. You're not going to get an easy heal by backing off and sipping. So they the idea being, of course, you're probably a Souls veteran if you're coming over to this game and taking a look at it. So they know their audience. The first area is this forest, and it is not great. I don't like the forest area. It's
the hub.
Yeah. And that was an initial, like, basically I was like, if I didn't find my way out of the forest, I would have had a very negative impression of this game. And it's a really bad starting zone to put you in, seeing as it's like the most winding and the most confusing. And also like it just, you're wandering off in any direction, but, it's hitting you. It's a lot of sameness in a bad way. I just really like that first area.
All the enemies in that hub are boring. They're all bandits. They're all dudes.
And there's that one boss that's like sitting right there in front of your
one's cool.
Your Firelink building. This is Mortal Shell, and the idea behind the Mortal Shell is that you're possessing different dead bodies of, like, I guess, important characters, and they are your builds. Instead of picking a class, you inhabit the shell of a body of a class that's already set, and each build has, really varying stats and things, but you don't really see a stat sheet. You don't see a whole bunch of numbers. You kind of just get a simple, like, stamina, MP and HP, essentially, endurance, HP, and yeah. So that first area was just like, oof, but then I wandered into, so I beat that boss that was right outside, and then I wandered around and I got another shell right away, and then I wandered into a beautiful area that was just gorgeous art-wise.
Oh, really? I have not. I played that for an afternoon, and I saw the forest, and I saw like a temple, and it was just like a black version of the forest.
So I wandered. There's an obsidian temple, and
that's where I ended up.
Did you go past it?
No.
Okay, so there's a tough boy standing at the door, and then you beat him, and then you walk outside, and you're in this beautiful obsidian landscape of like rocks, and it's awesome. It was a very nice looking level, and it was also an area of like, ooh, this looks late game. This looks like I shouldn't be here yet. And the shell that I picked up right outside the door to this temple was like massive HP bar, late game looking kind of find, but I found it, stumbled quickly over there. So I was like, okay, before I go wandering into this like, really cool looking area, let's just backtrack. And so I did. Went back into the forest, which, like I said, like, it was lame. And then from that forest, I found the second dungeon, which is catacombs. And the catacombs are almost identical to Souls 1 catacombs. Like, you're turning through these little corridors. Instead of skeleton men, you're fighting like these like little like fish zombos that like tackle you, and then some other aggressive types, And then you take it all the way through the catacombs to a snow area that was pretty cool. And at the end of that snow area, you come across a boss fight, which is Tarsus is the name of the boss. And he's skating around and throwing his sword on you fight in a giant ice area, and he slides around on the ice doing big, fast, like, swings and stingers at you. And it was cool. So I think the first area is a bad impression that improves upon, like, getting out of there, getting new shells, getting that parry ability to parry and heal, and then fighting some of the other bosses. But they really should not have put that forest as your default hub, And
it's the one you're going to be spending the most time in, because you on the way to each of the, I think there's 4 areas. Like, it's the one you're going to be trekking, you got to run back to, and forwards the whole time.
Yeah, currently I'm running back towards it because I have to give like a gland to the prisoner that you meet upstairs. But yeah, I can see that, like, and from what I understand is it's a small team as well. So people have been describing that it's like a very small team put it together, so you're going to run into the problems that come with that. And there were some jank-ass moments that certainly occurred, and some bugs. There's 1 or 2 QA tests, but yeah, I think it's all right. I need to say though that, like, the trailer gave me the impression that I was going to be fighting a series of bosses with short zones in between, and that's not at all what it turned into. It turned into very few bosses and mostly zone.
Yeah.
I in fact, like, yeah, I just, because the initial trailer just was like a bunch of 1v1 fights in a big open space, and I was kind of like, oh, cool, okay, I'm down for a boss rush focused Souls-like, and it turned out to be not that. It's very zone centric. I've only fought like 1 optional boss, and then 2 optional bosses and 1 like major cutscene type boss.
I think probably the thing that bummed me out the most of that game, and I can appreciate them going for it, is just, like, particularly because you spend so much time in that early forest, is, like, I don't know if it's the way the art assets are or if it's color filter, but, like, it is like the total range of color on any one area is like 50 hex points from the top to the bottom. Like, that forest is green. Every person in the person in the forest is green. The sky is green. Your character being lit by it is green. It's fucking wild.
I honestly, like, I can't stress enough that, like, to me, that improves in the other zones, and currently, right now, for example, I walked through this blizzard ice area, took on a bunch of, like, ice Vikings and whatever's going on in that setting, and then and I fought the boss, and now on the way out, drastic art change, drastic lighting change. The forest, the ice area is now completely pitch black, and the only thing that is lighting everything is a really ominous, like, almost like Doom 3-esque red light coming off of your body that has a very horror feel to it that the backtrek through this zone has completely changed the feel of that area. You know, it really comes down to that forest right now in my brain as like you got to climb that wall and look over the other side of it because there's some nice stuff over the wall, you know. But it puts it right in your face, and I got lucky stumbling in the right direction twice. You know,
that's nice.
I stumbled into the first area, went, this is cool. I got a weapon for stuff there too. I got a hammer and chisel. So I also got
hammer.
Yeah, I'm like, cool. There's some combos you can do with the chisel and the 1-2 pop 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 pop. And then went the other way through the catacombs, got a base cannon, basically. You know, it's essentially a fucking Chaos Zweihander. And it's a big, slow, spin that shit around, charge it up, flatten whatever you touch with it kind of weapon. And that was enough like variety as well. So that was interesting. There's a thing to it that is I don't think I like this. I was wondering, it's a curious decision. It's like every time you pick up an item, you can familiarize with it for enhanced usage, which is awesome.
And it gives you more like information about it as you keep using it.
Yes, the more you use it, the more you familiarize, the better the item is for you. I like that. However, when you first pick it up, you don't know what it does at all, and if it's a rare item, you're gonna waste it.
Yeah,
right,
100%.
So that's one of those things where I'm like, okay, if you're gonna put a thing like that in, which is like, hey, you can't know until you know, you got to just go forward and discover it yourself. Let there be somewhere or some way in the game where you can go in and like inspect or uncover about the item before you consume something that's really valuable and really rare. You know, I feel like that was something I was like, okay. At this, like, at first I was like, just use everything once and see what it says, and then it's kind of like, oh, or just pull the wiki up and read what it says there too, because that's a really good item. It'll like put you into the shell of one of the characters you're currently not inhabiting, you know. Anyway, it's one of those simple things. Is just like, just use it and see what it does, and I'm sure that's an easy thing. But if you have a little of that FOMO and you're like, but that one though, like, it's not, you know.
You know, it's like it wouldn't be so bad, but like Mortal Shell I found was like pretty tough. So like if the game was like easy as piss, like the worry over using a rare item would be significantly diminished. But like it's pretty rough. Like it beat me up pretty good.
And I did accidentally pop items that like I'm like, fuck, I wish I knew what that did beforehand. I wouldn't have done that, you know? So in any case, it's versus and I see the direct comparison, for example, Binding of Isaac, right, where you just kind of walk into a random thing and then you're like, what the fuck does this do? And Binding of Isaac, I'd say, is like not on that level of challenging until like you press really further in and you get a randomized build as kind of the appeal of the game, versus here the randomized build is not at all what they're going for.
Binding of Isaac has like one of the most frustrating lack of information problems I've ever had in a game, where I streamed it a couple years ago and I'd be like, boss to drop an item and I go, oh cool, what's that item? And because the chat is 4 seconds behind, I have the item in my inventory before everybody goes, no, don't pick it up, no. And I find out that it's like, it's a trap item. It's like, it's so garbage that like I might as well end my run, because now my tears shoot in a zigzag and or some bullshit.
Thing is that to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that is the point of Isaac. It's a simple, basic game with so many fucking items that you can have infinite variations of builds. All right? I think it's applying randomness to what is otherwise a very basic, simple game. With roguelike or randomly generated rooms and such. If that's not the goal, and like you said, the difficulty's there, and then the game is kind of like, no, that was really handy, that was a really useful item, then you know, if you want to have this sense of like you don't know what you picked up, then you can just add another layer to it, which is like maybe like take this to the right NPC and they can uncover that for you, you know? Find the right blacksmith for this ember type of thing. Because I found like a secret shop, for example, which was really cool. I was like, oh, that's nice. There's a secret shop here. And she sells 5 things that sound like they're really good. Some of them are very expensive, so they must be. But I have no fucking clue what they are or what they do or why I should care. So that whole shop is like, oh, that's a cool secret.
Don't worry about that until New Game Plus.
Yeah. So, but in any case, ultimately, I feel like, yeah, it was cool. And I'm going to go. I didn't say, I was like, at first I was like, I don't know if I should go for a full LP on this because I don't know how it's going to go. And by the end of that stream, I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm liking this enough to come back to it. I'm having fun with it. But the decision on that first zone really, probably, you're not the only one. I bet I'm sure there's a bunch of people that possibly would have hit that forest and went, I don't know about this. But
I don't know how to. Sorry, after you.
But the defensive mechanisms are very fun to play with.
I don't know how to feel about games like that, like Mortal Shell, and recently I didn't talk about it when I played it, but Pray for the Gods.
Yes,
where they're jank, but like they're put together a lot better than you would expect for like a 3-4 person team. And like in my heart, I'm like, wow, this is impressive, and I think that they did a really good job. Now, excuse me while I turn it off and never play it again.
Okay.
Right? And it's this
that's
thing where it's like, is it fair to compare Mortal Shell to like Dark Souls 3? Yeah, probably not. But they're both games I have on my hard drive right now.
I think that you can't what you should consider basically with the size of the team is how much polish can be expected in a lot of cases. But then when there's things that are like, well, that's not a question of polish, that's just a design decision, then that's like, then I'd be like, no, I disagree with that design, you know? So something that like for example is just like, it was a decision, and you know, I guess I didn't really like it that much. I didn't realize when you do a corpse run, you turn back into the character, into the shell that you died as, you know, and that wasn't immediately initially apparent to me. So so I think at one point I used an item to like turn into a different character, and I had one consumable of that item that was like my stronger character that I liked, and then I ran by my corpse and like picked up my souls, so to speak. And the collecting the process of my souls also turned me back into a character I didn't want to be. And I was like, oh, but I just want to get my resources back. I don't want to, you know, let the bloodstain like disappear, so to speak, and lose all that stuff. But I also didn't want to lose the character I was inhabiting, you know? So anyway, that's not a question of polish. That's just that's a design decision that I disagree with. And I think it's fair to be like, yeah, I didn't like that part, you know? Anyway, but it was interesting enough that I'm gonna see it through and see what's going on with it. So we'll be coming back to that as well during the week. Right now, Silent Hill and Mortal Shell being the 2 things we're doing. There's some other stuff. So I guess I'll drop in the movie that I watched. Have you heard of Don't Look Up?
I did watch Don't Look Up.
Okay. Interesting. So, I have some thoughts on Don't Look Up.
I also have a couple thoughts. I actually watched this 2 weeks ago. Pretty much, like, I forget when exactly, and I thought about bringing it up, and I was like, nah. But now that you've watched it, I'm glad to talk about it.
Okay. Interesting that because I'm very down to talk about this because here's what I think is interesting about this. It doesn't the quality of the movie is irrelevant. I don't have anything of note or substance to say about the quality of the film because that's not at all what is interesting or worth talking about to me. If you are interested in watching Don't Look Up, you know, we're going to probably spoil some of that right now talking about it. It doesn't have to be a super long spoiler cast, because I promise you, the content of it, the quality of the content is not what it's not what's about to be discussed here, at least for me. It's just a simple thing. It's the movie, if you have any slight ounce of climate anxiety about the world in you, this shit cuts so fucking deep and real in a way that is like it's a simple thing. The premise of the movie is there is a discovery that a comet is going to hit the planet Earth in about 6 months' time, and that's the premise of the movie, and how the planet reacts to that. And the way it gets processed after going through the last 2 years, watching how something like that gets handled in a really depressingly believable, stupid manner is kind of soul annihilating, is how I felt about it. I was like, oh my God, it really might go that bad, based on the way, looking around, looking at the conversations that I'm seeing, the conversations I have to have with family and friends, the way the news has gotten filtered over all of this shit. It's like, if you have any part of you that is like, yeah, climate change is a thing and it's probably bad that there's not enough being done about it, then you look at the way this movie delivers this message and you kind of are like, my God, it really would be that dumb. That's how I felt.
I'm really torn on it. The number one thing that I couldn't stop thinking the whole time I was watching the movie was, boy, somebody sure wants to tell me something. Like, almost Kojima-esque levels of, hey, there's a message here. Do you hear it? And that to me was like, that would have been fine if the movie was a little more serious. I probably thought it would have been way funnier with less humor. In particular, Jonah Hill's character,
who
ruins every scene that he's in.
I disagree.
Because he's a cartoon in what is supposed to be like satire, but he's too much.
So
he's
I think
way too much.
I think so both I was looking at this afterwards, and I saw like both Leonardo DiCaprio and the director, who was he's a comedy director, like he's the director of Step Brothers, I believe. So, you know, that's been the genre of film that has been his thing for a while, but like they both basically said, yeah, this there's no subtext here. This is a direct, clear thing we're saying, and there is a climate change message to this movie. It's not supposed to be subtle, because the feeling that we have about this topic should not be subtle, right? The idea is that we're not going for subtlety because it's not about subtlety right now. That's the point of this, is that it's an urgent thing, you know?
See, I get that, but at the same time, the movie wants to be kind of dry, but it's not. Like, I want more to one end of the spectrum. I didn't think it hit its balance very well at all.
Okay.
I thought it should have been much drier, or it should have been less dry. I guess I don't want to say the movie wants to be wetter.
I like I said, to me, it all of it felt like less important than the takeaway as to how, like, media and government and leadership processes shit that endangers everyday people, like the rest of the population, essentially. Like, just the depiction of how that gets processed was so like, oh my god, it's really that bad that I almost didn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's because it's basically like there's a comparison to between this and the movie Idiocracy, which
Yes,
is at first
much better.
Well, at first here's the thing about it, but it's important to me. There's an important distinction between the two, right? Because they're both about a bleak future in which like stupidity fucking rules the day, and oh god, the horrors that come when that becomes the only way forward. But the difference between the two, and what's important, I think, is that like Idiocracy was about how stupid the entire human race becomes, right? And how completely fucking hopeless that is. Versus, in this case, it's not the people, it's the leadership and the media. You know, it's the government in particular. It's the way like fuck all is being done about urgent things.
Okay, I think you're misunderstanding my issue with the film. My issue with the film is that every single fucking second of the movie, I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Okay,
that was kind of funny. Yeah, I get it. It wasn't interesting enough to other than, oh man, shit's really bad, huh?" And I think this was probably, I mean, it couldn't have been written post-COVID, right?
no,
Like, this had to have been pre-COVID. It's about
from my
global warming.
I believe I believe it was written beforehand, and then COVID hit, and then like it became even more of a thing.
So like, clearly they get it.
Yeah, I think
I'm like, it's just like, yeah, it's bad. Like, how do I put this? It's not a funhouse mirror to the real world. It's a kind of cracked mirror. I want a funhouse mirror or a regular mirror. Having it just be slightly off and kind of jokey, and me going, yeah, no, it's that bad. And I think me and Paige, I think it was Paige who said this, but we think that the funniest joke in the whole movie was Leonardo DiCaprio dating somebody his own age.
Yes, that was a tweet. Yeah. That was a tweet online. That was funny. The part of that funhouse mirror, though, and this is the thing, I guess, is that at least with my takeaway on it is that like the part where you're looking at a situation where the disinformation campaign on something so like obvious and bad becomes like it's so dumb in real life watching it happen that like the level of extremity that it goes to in this funhouse mirror that you're describing is one where you're like, oh my god, I can see exactly how there would be a fucking Twitter campaign and a hashtag and a full-on like, no, don't worry about it, it's all fine. Like, that part of reality where I'm like, it really is getting that absurd in real life.
Yes, no, Wooly, the thing
and you're saying
the movie, you're doing to me right now. Yeah, right. I get it.
Right. So then I don't know. I guess I'm like, maybe not everyone gets it. I did mention it when I streamed last week, and someone went like, "Oh, I didn't see any climate change message here at all. I thought it was all about COVID and the COVID response." And I was like, okay, well,
I mean, why not? They're both. I mean, sure.
And I think it's both. I think it's both. But
but like, me watching a movie that just reinforces the things I already believe in a depressing view of the world does not make me an enjoyable movie experience.
No, that's what I'm not saying it's an enjoyable experience at all. It definitely will not. It's like, a fucking.
I want Mel Brooks to do this movie. Or I want like Kojima or like fucking Louis Theroux or something. Like, it's sitting in this middle part where it's just super preachy, and I'm part of the choir that
You're
it's
part of the choir.
to,
Yeah.
so I'm fucking bored. And people that aren't part of the choir that it's preaching to, it comes off like the most sanctimonious fucking shit in the world. That's not going to reach a single person. You think somebody who doesn't think climate change is real is going to look up into the sky and go, but what if there was a meteor?
Yeah. And that probably explains why it's doing so poorly on like Rotten Tomatoes and shit. Because like it absolutely did not land with people in terms of that quality. And that's why I'm just like, I guess if you're part of the choir, then you're already like, I get it the whole time. To me, I'm like, this is... to me, I was just like, I could see this getting this dumb if the threats that like exist were faster moving and they weren't over the course of decades, but were over the course of, you know, a much shorter period of time. And the absurdity of like the whole thing being a ridiculous like comedy movie or whatever, like the parts where you're like, oh my god, but the absurdity is so mirrored to things that have happened, to me was more of a like, this is horrifying and like hurts inside to see that parallel.
I kind of disagree that, like, I don't know, like, it's a comedy in that there's a couple characters that are funny, and like the funniest joke in the movie is the fucking joke about the snacks. And that's within like the first 20 minutes, and it never gets better than that.
Yeah.
Also, I think we can all very much agree that movie did not need to be 2.5 hours long.
It could have gotten to the point with a less.
That's like
But all of that, yeah, I don't know. All right, well, I'm not good at breaking things down any further than I think I already have. All I got on it is just like that one feeling, like that one take.
Hey, Benj. Benj is in the chat to tell us it was so fucking long.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
That one feeling I took from it was enough for me to be like, yeah, I am like ignoring the rest. That one takeaway of like, this feels bad, is what stuck with me, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. But again, I do believe that what you're describing is why it's being received so poorly. For sure.
I feel that the people that really love this movie are the people that the movie tells is smarter than the people that don't like this movie. And they might be, but I think that the actual film is really long and poorly edited and kind of boring. And that it's also like, how do I put this? It is a movie that is violently for United States citizens.
Mm-hmm.
It is not for people elsewhere. To the point where there's a point in the movie where they describe Russia, India, and China doing their own space thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what about the Canadian and European space agencies and the Japanese space agencies? Oh, did the writer not remember that those agencies existed? Probably not.
I definitely, I mean, the fact that you're following like the first, or rather the second scene is like in the White House. It's like, yeah, that tells you immediately this is specifically an American point of view, and it's talking about the American messaging of like that whole crisis, so to speak, right? It is absolutely hyper centralized to that American lens. But yeah, no, that's it. I just felt particularly soul crushed, again, especially after having the family and friend conversations I've had over the last 2 years that it just fucking it burned inside in a way that I was like, oh my god, I've seen people behaving this dumb, and yeah, whatever. I'm repeating myself. I got nothing else to add to it. So, all right. Other things I did. I played Inscription.
You finally got to Inscription.
Mm-hmm.
How's Inscription?
So I played about 6 hours of it. And that's
good.
Yeah. I guess I guess yeah, I think well, I'll tell you what I did, right? So I played the by the way, I guess potential spoilers for Inscription, because we've talked about it in the past, and there's spoilable content. So I'm going to try to talk about what I've seen, which is not all of it, but I'll talk.
So the way that people generally talk about Inscription, to dance around this, is to refer to the chapters.
Okay.
Chapter 1 and 2, etc.
Yeah, so again, I feel as if I'm probably far from done, but what I did was I played a really great and fun card game.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. And then, as previously discussed, when you talked about it, you can get up and walk around and see and do things in the room.
Little room escape puzzles.
Yeah, while you are returning to the board to play a card game. That is a ton of fun. I really like the card game. It's exactly the type of thing I was looking for, which is interesting. I tried to play a different game earlier, which I'll get into, and it wasn't what I wanted. But this was what I wanted, was just like the ability to just idle and play this card game. And went through it, died once or twice, and then third time through, went all the way up and beat it, essentially, right? Beat the final boss of the cards. And then upon doing so, I guess I didn't have all the items I needed to make it out alive of this section of the game. So I was given, I guess, a bad ending, and then I had to restart. I then kind of found out what my mistake was.
That's kind of wild. You were able to beat it before getting that item.
Yeah. Well, like, so I got the item, and I didn't put it in the right place. You know what I'm talking about, right? So there's an item that you have to unlock. Yeah, I got the item, I didn't put it in the right place, so I didn't have it going into the final encounter, and then I was just like, bad end, restart, right? Okay. But right before that happened, I was treated to the the shift in perspective that the game goes through, where the card game stops and the walk around stops, and you zoom out to another layer, which was awful. It was really not good for that brief moment.
You're talking about the videos?
Yeah, those videos were rough, and I was so sad when that happened, because I don't think a card game this fun needs a framing device.
Well, do you remember last week when we talked about the Matrix? And you talked about it, I ended up talking with people a bit on Twitter about expectations. One of the things about Inscription is that on the front page of the Inscription store page says, from the makers of Pony Island, which means there will be a meta layer.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
That's every single game that gentleman makes is like that.
Okay, so like Pony Island was a Frog Fractions type of situation.
It's something like that. The game is not the game is the game.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, you know, if I'm just a fucking idiot missing the point, then I again, I didn't beat it properly, and I have to go back through it and through all of that now with the item that I've collected that I didn't have earlier. So I have to find out where that goes. But I really enjoyed everything about the card game a lot. And it's unfortunate when you get into, I guess, the meta side of things, because it's hit or miss. You are swinging for the fences, and it all just relies on the performance of the actors involved, right?
Right.
And if they do a good performance and it all lands, then you probably are gonna like it. But that's not how I felt. I felt the videos were rough, and I kind of just wanted to get out of them as quickly as possible. You know, but I didn't know the backstory with the creator there.
Right now, the game is testing in beta a much longer form version of the card game.
Mm-hmm.
That is like more of a proper roguelike and can go pretty much infinitely.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great, because what you've currently experienced is, in my opinion, the best part of the game.
Okay. Can I just... So, if we're talking about this, and we're talking about it, and yes, the videos you're watching are of a YouTuber who's clearly acting up for the camera. That's not what I...
Cringe-tuber.
Yes, and the fact that that's being really over the... That's not even the thing. I mean the whole package. The parts that are meant to be the cringe parts on camera, and the parts that are meant to be off camera, actual genuine kind of
also
creepy.
Cringe.
The whole package, not just the inside thing. So the whole that's the point thing is not at all the point. That entire...
We are decades out from Marble Hornets, and there's still almost nothing that's as good as that. Just teenage dude just chatting to his camera in their car, talking about a dummy they dressed up in a suit.
So, that's about as far as I saw, and then I got a bad ending, and that was it. So I guess there's more to the game, and I have to go do it again. And I don't mind that, because I really like the card game. So I'm down as soon as I get a chance to fucking sit down and go right back through that. But if what I got a glimpse of there is a preview for where things go, I'm just really sad about that. And now I get what
Not quite.
you meant. Okay.
No, not quite. It's very different from what you're probably expecting based on those videos.
Okay, good. Good. Because whatever the fuck happens, if it's like those videos, I'm just, well, it's not what I want, and that sounds bad. But something else entirely, I'll try to keep an open mind for. Okay.
I liked part 2 a lot.
Okay.
Part 2 is not those videos.
Okay, good.
I'll tell you.
Good. The introduction of those videos and that layer just had me leaning back quite a bit, going, "Oh no, oh no, oh no." Yeah. No. Yeah. Man, it's certainly been a week or two for the conversation about subtext, the word meta, and the idea of it's supposed to be bad here. It's supposed to be bad.
Matrix, and I still haven't seen it, and I saw people getting into the most vicious arguments There were basically one side was like, it's your fault if you went in with expectations and couldn't adjust them based on what the movie really wants to be, and other people going, yeah, but the movie still sucks. Just because it's meta doesn't mean I have to like it. And then we talked just now about fucking Don't Look Up, which I would describe as having, I think somebody said in the chat, overtext.
Yeah, the complete opposite situation where it's like there's no you didn't get it. It's like you can't not, right? And so even in this situation now with Inscription, where like if there's anyone here that's like, no, you don't get it, and it's like, no, that's not. You're not immune just because you call yourself out. You're not immune. You don't create a bubble from, like of you just didn't get it. Like that's not a force field if you then did attempt something, right? So like, for example, for all I know, the card game that I'm playing in Inscription is commentary on how boring and bland card games are, and I'm not supposed to like this. It's supposed to be uninteresting, and you're supposed to be looking for something deeper with some more substance to it, right? For all I know. But seeing as I get a simpleton who enjoyed that thing, my perspective would be, well, it looks like a card game was made here with effort put into it, and I liked it.
We really need to table the rest of the Inscription conversation until you at least get to chapters 2 or 3.
Done.
Because
fine.
Because to me, the discussion about Inscription isn't about its meaning. It's the value of going for twists and hard rights and meta stuff when the non-twist thing was more interesting. Like, the thing of like, hey, we subverted expectations, and it's like, well, the rule there is your story more interesting without the twist? If it is, then why the fuck did you put it? Just to fuck with people?
Right.
That's kind of how I feel about Inscription.
Okay, then we'll leave that alone. But of course, the Matrix version of that is like, hey, doesn't it suck how much sequels these days are derivative and there's nothing interesting that comes out of them? And it's like, yeah, that's a thing I think a lot of us can agree with. That's true. And it's like, right, we're calling attention to that. And it's like, that's true. That does suck. Right.
That's real. That's not great.
Okay, now the rest of this is us doing that. Now we're going to attempt to do that, but we made sure to let you know in advance that we hate doing this. We hate doing this.
Hey, we're not doing it. You get it? Yes, I get it.
Right. Now we're about to do it, but just remember that we hated doing it. Okay, got it. Cool.
I'm still going to end up watching Matrix at some point. I'm going to try and keep an open mind because it might just be weird enough for me to really like it. But
I hope you do, because I hope you can like everything in there. Like there's always stuff that's like, oh, that's an interesting thing. And I'm dead serious when I say that there are interesting things about it that are worth discussing. And its unwillingness to exist is something worth discussing, you know what did
I just saw somebody pointing out, thank you, Mark Collins, you know what did the it's a sequel but it's so far away that it's something completely different, like perfectly, was Twin Peaks.
I couldn't
Twin Peaks season 1 and 2 are from a different fucking filmmaking planet than the third season. They are completely different genres despite sharing the same characters, director and writer, and plot to some degree.
And which I don't know if that's Lynch, if Lynch goes on to do that in his other works, but I feel like the few things I've seen of him don't go for that.
No, he doesn't do a lot of long form serialized stuff. He does movies.
Something I thought was pretty funny was the Red Letter Media take on Matrix.
I haven't seen it yet because I haven't seen the movie.
Okay, fair enough. The takeaway in summary from that review that they just put out is it's awesome how much it's awesome that it hates sequels and derivative shit as much as we do, and it's awesome that it's awesome that like it's calling that out, but then it's also a terrible movie with bad action and bad lines and bad reading and bad acting and bad script and nonsense, complete garbage, right? The film that exists continues to be complete garbage, but how awesome is it that it's irreverent about the parts where it doesn't want to exist? And it's like, yeah, there's something to talk about there. But I just while acknowledging that, I just think that you don't get to make a force field, especially one with your hand sticking out like this, which, is a whole lot of the movie is Keanu doing this. And you don't get to put a force field up and then say, hey, don't. Anyway, all right. The topics we cover are all going into that subject matter. And this last one,
that first Matrix movie's really good. And like
fantastic.
three of the shorts from Animatrix.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. Anyway, whatever. Don't tell me Woolies only likes the first one and not as much the second and the third one kind of guy. And I'm like, that was everybody when we walked out of the theaters 20 years ago. What are you talking about?
Every single person that walked out of Matrix Reloaded talked about nothing but the highway fight, because the highway fight was so incredible.
Yeah,
and then once that high wore off, you're like, wait, was that garbage? Yeah, it was. That was garbage.
Yeah, so I don't know if you fast forward and some people went back and watched it like later when, I don't know, like when they, were younger and then had a completely different impression of it by themselves or whatever. But I promise you, like, that's not a unique thing,
I can't wait for like 10 years from now if somebody is like, look at Pat pretending that people didn't love the prequels when they came out.
Well, I was literally about to say that I was literally about to say this is someone saying, oh, you one of those guys that love the original trilogy, hated the prequel trilogy. Jeez, okay, and it's like, oh. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's hilarious. But okay, all that aside, moving on. One more thing. So there's a game I played. It's called Wolfstride, and take a Google.
In black and white?
Yes, it is black and white, highly stylistic, and you are Kamina from that alternate universe where him and Kitan are vice cops, basically. Mm-hmm. That's you as a protagonist. You're Kamina in a Wolfwood suit. Go check that out. And you are walking around a world where you are not the pilot of a mecha, but you are the manager of its team. Mm-hmm. And you are basically doing what you need to get the robot repaired and finding things, and you're doing all the management stuff. And then when it gets into the robot fighting, you get to pilot the robot. So yeah, it's called Wolfstride. The game is oozing with style. The artwork is fucking cool, and it's got like tons of voice acting, and the whole thing was just like, oh shit, this is. I saw the trailer and I was like, yep, okay, you are pulling me in on this like style and this aesthetic and the mecha fighting, where there's a turn-based robot fighting system, and you have to kind of like move in and out and use action points and movement points and mm-hmm. all of that stuff. A little tactical thing going on. That shit's cool. Unfortunately, when
I could hear it the whole time. The whole time you were talking, I'm like, because he's describing all this good stuff, but he doesn't have like that smile in his voice.
Oh, you could hear when there's a butt coming. I know.
I can hear it.
Oh God, I want to like it. I really do. Oh man. Okay. Well, look. Right. So there's minor grievances, and then there's a larger one. So the minor grievances are that robot fighting, I've played about 6 hours of the game. Mm-hmm. And I've fought 2 tutorial fights and 1 real fight.
Oh, yeah! That's great!
the amount of running around and shopping in the grocery stores to talk to the characters and stuff that you're doing is... I like when you have stuff to do between missions in the world, but there's so much here that what this actually is reminiscent of is a visual novel that breaks it up with a little bit of robot fights every now and then. And it's reminiscent of playing Melty Blood story mode, where you're like, no, you're playing a VN right now, and then after a while, you're going to get into the next fight. So, I was really like and the game actually has a moment where it seems like it promises, don't worry, the pace will pick up. Like a narrator literally said to me, don't worry, the pace will pick up when I last touched it. But that's one thing, right? 13 Sentinels admittedly lets you jump back and forth between these as much as you want to. And the structure of its narrative allows that to be possible. But in this case, you are locked into all of the story, and in a lot of cases, the story it's not much. You're just running around, and there's a lot of empty places you're running from. So every location, you kind of like you run through like a street that's usually empty. There it might not be, and then you get to a destination. You talk to this person, and then you'd want to fast travel back to your next point, but then you don't. You have to do the run back, and it adds so much nothing, unfortunately. There's a lot of fluff and filler going on. So there's that. But goddamn, it looks and sounds great, and it's doing its thing. So there's that, and then the thing that just... Oh, boy. While it's being stylish and doing cool things,
right,
it's going for jokes that don't land, and it sucks because if you're funny and you're writing funny things, and it's like I don't know, it's like me and Min have like talked about like pretty much like how our senses of humor just don't mesh, and like there's no getting around it. Like he goes one way on a joke, I go another way, or whatever the case is, right? In this thing, they go one way with the jokes, and if you are somebody who was like, I don't find that funny, or I don't like this character, or whatever, you like, if it's a game where you can ignore something that's annoying to you, that'd be one thing. But there's a character that's a part of your team here that you find, and it's a robot. The robot's name is Peepoo, and he exists to make Peepoo jokes all day.
Okay.
And he talks screaming at the top of his lungs, pretty much for every line delivery. And every time there's he's gonna swear or cuss, he just yells the word pee or poo, and like it's like take the worst type of Teddy type of character and shove him in your face and make it that you have to deal with this constantly.
It's the pee poo poo man.
It's a constant. It's a fucking constant. And it's like you're going through some of the... I'm mashing at a point to be like, oh my god, is this monologue ever going to end? And it... Now, I know what you're thinking, right? That's fucking dumb and hilarious. I'm in.
No, I'm not thinking that.
Okay. Because I know some people are, because this is the first time they're hearing it, and so they're like, that sounds hilarious and dumb, I'm laughing. No, I implore you to go, like, sit and expose yourself to it for a prolonged period of time and see whether or not you think this lands after constant amounts of this dialogue. It's
so, you know what?
Brutal.
You know what this reminds me of, like, directly, and one other game somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember me talking about Daemon X Machina?
Yeah.
I played a bunch of it.
Yeah.
And like my takeaway was like, man, these mech missions are cool. It's a shame that there's like 15 to 20 minutes of terrible story in between every single one. But the one that really stands out the most is Borderlands. So
Okay.
Borderlands 3 is an absolutely excellent loot shooter that plays really well. That every time it comes up on Steam sale, I'm like, maybe I should get it. And then I remembered the time that I bought it and played it for 30 minutes and then refunded it because every single line of dialogue is the most embarrassing, falls flat fucking cringe.
Okay.
And I pointed that out on social media, and I got like 100 people saying that they love that game, but they play it exclusively with the sound completely off and listening to this podcast.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay.
Right? And
Because
it's like, God damn it.
because I know those of you who are hearing what I'm saying and are thinking to yourselves, but Wooly, that sounds awesome and hilarious. And it's like, no. Here's what you're not realizing, that what you have is someone from Foam Adventure has joined the party.
Oh God, it's just, oh God.
Never mind the fact that, well, there's a character called Foam Gun, mind you, but that's neither here nor there. Foam Adventure has joined the party, and it's not like, it doesn't seem to be aware of the fact that it's Foam Adventure. It's like, it's unironic. Foam Adventure is here, and this is what we're going for. And I'm like, man, oh God,
People don't know what Foam Adventure is. You can Google search it. It's right there.
Yeah,
It's safe for work.
And if you hear that and you know what I'm talking about and you think that sounds awesome, then this is for you. Then you're the target audience. It's going to work. But this is something that I was like, oh boy, I don't like this part of it. and okay, not to, you know, it's a character, and then the rest of the game is going on and doing its thing. But some of the other characters are a little like, there's a lack of self-awareness on that character that then translates over to some of the others where you're like, oh man, I basically am like, if I have to spend a lot of time with you outside of these robot fights, if it was super enjoyable time, then that'd be great, but that's unfortunately not the way I'm feeling here. There are some cool characters that you're like, I want to go, like, you go chill at the bar and have some drinks between fights, and they're like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's have some rounds and just character develop, and all that's great, you know?
Shoot the shit, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you know, like, that's all fine. Or go down to the fucking scrapyard and, you know, talk to, whatever. There's some people that you don't mind talking to and spending time with in the visual novel between these far and few in between fights. But the commitment to these types, of which there's Peepoo, there's your rival pig that you fight, who's like your first rival in the game, and he's also a bit of a unaware that the way he's talking and the gags he's doing are not landing kind of energy, and it's like, oh man, some of these gags, they're not landing.
You know, video games, like, humor's difficult. Humor's really, really hard. It's one of the hardest emotional states to evoke in somebody. It's rare. There's a reason there's an entire craft to it. That's just people yelling at an audience to make them laugh, right? Writing humor is hard. Writing humor in a game is almost impossible. It's easily the hardest medium for humor. And if you're not really, really good at writing and writing humor, you should probably not, because it is like a lead weight around your story or your theme or your fucking thing's neck. It like, bad comedy is awful.
I think that's why in a lot of cases, when there is a gag, you don't see, and in a lot of games, they don't go yes-anding it into a whole scene. It'll be one line or two, it'll be a little bit of throwaway, and at best, it'll land and you'll love it, or at worst, it'll be really bad and you'll forget about it. It's forgettable, right? And I was describing this to Punch Mom, and I was thinking about how to word, and I was like, it kind of reminds me of like when Teddy shows up in P4, and you're like, oh no, oh
And you
boy,
just start recoiling. You just
and
start
you're like,
like,
oh
well,
please, 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 and then it's like, okay,
all right.
it gets better, and it's not like we're not dedicating anywhere near as much time to these bits as you were worried we might. We pull back, he gets better, and then you're like, yeah, this is fine. Ultimately. And to me, I'm like, yeah, okay. Teddy is there, he's a part of the team, and it gets better, and then you don't have to have these massive commitments.
I actually thought Morgana was not as successful as Teddy because there's too much Morgana.
Yeah. Teddy's Morgana's your partner. Morgana's with you the whole way through.
Teddy doesn't hang out with your house and with you every single day.
But the idea of this though is very similar in that it's like, once you introduce this angle of things, you have to decide how to commit to this, how much you want to commit to it, and like, if you're going, and in this case, the commitment is extreme. I feel, because it's like, it's these full-on huge long scenes that play out that I just couldn't get through fast enough, really. And then it's funny too, because like the game has a lot of art in it, and like when you press start to skip a cutscene, like there's a message that literally says like, every time you skip a cutscene, an artist dies. Would you like to kill one more?
Yeah.
Give
me more cutscenes to skip, please.
That's the skip cutscene message, But like the cool shit that it's doing is very stylish and cool. Gotta bookend.
I wanna. This is way off topic, but that loading screen tip reminded me. I was talking to somebody recently about how I cannot play Genshin Impact, and how Genshin Impact keeps getting lots of new stuff, and lots of people on my timeline are playing Genshin Impact, but I can't play it. Just can't do it. It's like a legitimate like addiction danger. Like the not having characters in an action game is just like a knife to my throat of like, buy more packs. Just can't do it. Won't play it. And when I made that decision to uninstall it, I was hit with the most disgusting anti-uninstall message, which is Paimon, like the character, begging you not to uninstall the game, and saying, oh, you'll come back, right? Or is it Amber? I forget. Yeah. It's one of them. And then they send you emails as Paimon asking you if you're gonna come back. And it's
give like, Microsoft Edge a chance.
And it like, I still get fucking emails from it.
Hell yeah.
That is like, hey, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
Hey, you haven't even tried the new Microsoft browser. Come on, give it a chance.
Some people probably come back as a result of that, but every time I see one of those, it just reinforces my desire to stay away because of how obviously manipulative it is.
Oh yeah, how dare you delete your Bonzi buddy? Like the Gone from Bleach PS2 save file is Gone walking happily, 3D model, and when you go to delete him, he quakes with fear, and he gets really afraid that you're about to erase him from the save file. It's one of the earliest instances I can remember. Excuse me.
Hey, for context, Wolves, I found the image. I'm gonna send it to you. I just posted it in the chat for everybody to see as well.
Oh my, yep, there you go, crying. Do you really want to uninstall it? Tears. Oh no, the characters will be so sad. Don't do it. Yeah, fucking Christ. But yeah, in this game, there's so much going on that is very enjoyable and likable and stuff that I really want more of. And then there's padding out for time.
Man, there's something about, now the more that I think about it, the fact that they have a custom message for you skipping a cutscene makes me feel that they were well aware that people were going to skip these cutscenes.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to reload your save or, you know, try something differently or whatever, if you're retreading over progress, for sure, you know? Especially when there's stuff where, like, there's a calendar and there's some conversations or like cutscenes that you trigger that will last for a certain number of calendar days. So if you walk up to the same person and you don't know if they've changed their dialogue or not, because for this week they're stuck in this thing, you're going to trigger a cutscene, which you have to skip. It's like, yeah, I've already seen this conversation. So you do.
Wait,
but it's like,
really? And then they still, oh God, come on.
Yeah. So there's that. And there's like little minor other things, but like there's a point in which, okay, so there's a device that is like basically used in things where the screen cuts to black and you just see the text of the person talking.
Sure.
And you see that and it's usually an impactful like statement being said or something. You know, in anime or in games, when that happens, like it's just the line and everything else is dark. Focus on the line; it's important. So this game does that a lot, and it possibly a bit too much, because like the impact of it, the fourth, fifth, sixth time you see it, it doesn't hit as hard as the narrative is going. But there's a point at which a fairly serious one of those, like a couple of serious lines about like the future, are being read by Peepoo in Peepoo's voice while the screen is all black and it's just the text. And I was like, okay, all right. And then, you know, and then the last two lines kind of cut back to a different character whose sounds more serious and appropriate for the thing. And you're like, okay, right. But the moment I'm hearing the Peepoo voice over the full black text and the dramatic reading, I just kind of had a moment of like, I don't know. I can't deal. I don't know if I can deal with that. I don't think I can. But the game is goddamn fucking stylish, and I enjoy the simple but fun robot fights, and I just I wish that it kind of had not everything. Either have it in a way where you restrict a lot of that, tighten it up, faster travel, more fights, or 13 Sentinels where feast and famine. You can eat as much as you want, and when you're sick of battles, you can fucking switch over to the story, and then when you're sick of story, you can switch over to the analysis or back to your battles, you know? The game's Wolfstride, and it's still very cool, and I think, you know, take a look at what you're seeing on the Steam page for it and stuff. And here's what's important to note, and this is probably a takeaway that you can keep going through this entire podcast. The game is reviewing very positively. Most reviews are like loving it. In fact, there's only, of the 200 or so, only 10 are negative. The rest are very positive, and they would be because of the cool things. So my opinion, I have, as you all know, talking about all these games and these movies, I have shit taste. Don't listen to what I have to say about anything. You should know better. Wooly coming in with the bad takes again. Don't listen to this guy. He doesn't, you know, I don't know shit.
I don't know. That sounds like.
But that's it. There is a very clear, like, you know, the people didn't feel that way. A lot of people like found it funny and dug the thing, so that's that. But this is what I felt playing through it. You know, but at least go.
Would you say you have Peepoo taste?
Your
taste is Peepoo.
You didn't scream it loud enough. You didn't hold the line pee for a really long time.
No.
Yeah. Foam Adventure. All right.
You know, it's weird. What, you know, if I had a nickel for every time we mentioned foam adventure on the podcast the past 6 months,
I think
I'd have
twice.
2 nickels. I'd have 2 nickels.
Yeah.
Which isn't a lot, but it is weird
That it happened twice.
that like, and they were both like direct, perfect uses of it. What's going on? Why is so much shit in our near vicinity being like, yeah, it was good, I guess, but this... Is this us becoming old fuddy-duddies?
I mean, there's stuff that I thought, like, there's people and there's things where you're like, you know, there might have been a time in my life where that would have been funny, I guess, maybe, or not. No, I don't know. Some people, just senses of humor are just different. Some things are just different, and you know, it's like you said, it's very hard. It's very hard for everyone to think that to think it's funny. So, you know, when you commit hard, then you're gonna feel it. It's either gonna be a 10-on-10 hilarious moment because of how hard you committed to the bit, or it's gonna just agonize you with every time you have to press another prompt for it to go on. You know, which is why you have to consider. Like, I think if someone was basically to look at this like and take an editor's knife to it, they'd probably be like, keep the goofy character, just shorten the jokes and have them be like in and out at best and at worst.
Like, you know what's a really good example of like absolutely cringe, childish, nonsense, terrible humor that I think is fucking great is Freddy Got Fingered. Is the Tom Green movie. Which the plot of the Tom Green movie is that Tom Green's character convinces some executive to give him millions of dollars to make a movie, and he wastes all of it, which is the movie. Like, it's really direct. And the whole movie is Tom Green just doing horrible bits and just wasting money and just making the shittiest movie of all time, and I think that's hilarious.
I took damage watching the movie. I took fucking damage, dude. It hurt. Oh god, it hurt. Boy.
That movie,
I didn't think you were going to bring that up.
So bad. It's like the worst movie in the world on purpose, and I love it.
Yeah.
And he's got the jewels. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
He spent $1 million on jewels for his girlfriend, and they're all just like candy.
And I don't hate Tom Green. I just that fucking movie was. Oh, I wasn't ready.
I used to watch the Tom Green show a lot, actually. I love that show. I still remember when Tony Hawk showed up. And then went skateboarding into a computer store and just started doing grinds on pre-built computers and just trashing the fucking place.
I had very little exposure to Tom Green, you know, prior to that movie, so definitely wasn't fully ready. But here's the thing. I mean, here's what's kind of funny and interesting is, like, if you want to make a comparison, look at fucking Eric Andre's show.
Yeah. Eric Andre is the sequel to Tom Green.
Like
100%.
You know, and well, in that case, I think it fucking absolutely destroyed. Like, Eric Andre's hilarious. Like,
the progression goes Tom Green, Jackass, Eric Andre.
Yeah, I guess the Freddy Got Fingered, like, I took damage, but I wasn't laughing while I was taking the damage.
You ever see his testicular cancer special?
No, but I heard about it because it was real.
He got testicular cancer and decided to just film the entire process of having cancer and his operation. And it's the funniest thing he ever did. Includes him with his shredded up testicle running around the hospital, almost falling down, passing out, trying to touch people with it.
That's a real motherfucker.
Yep. He's
Damn.
he's going under, and he's like drugged out because he's going under for a big operation, and he's screaming that he wants the firemen to come save him. So his best friend Glenn is there in his recovery room, dressed head to toe as a fireman with like a fireman's axe. You're like, oh, that's really sweet. And he wakes up and looks at Glenn, and he's like, "You're not a real fireman. Get the fuck out of here, Glenn!" Like second one from waking up post getting your dick removed, sorry, your testicle removed.
No one can't say that he ain't a real motherfucker. Well, that took a turn. Now we're on Tom Green.
Is the kind of person that you see on the street and then you turn around and you just walk away. You don't want to be within a 100-foot radius of Tom Green or Eric Andre.
And then he follows you.
Oh no.
I mean, he's been living in his van with his dog, so he could be anywhere.
Which one?
Tom Green. He basically he hit the road like 2 or 3 years ago, about 2 years ago, yeah. And he just started fucking he's got him and his dog and he's driving around. He's everywhere,
I feel bad for Eric. Eric, remember I think he was on Hot Ones and he told a story about him eating like a sandwich in Toronto. And like some 15-year-old kid ran up to him and kicked him in the back and went, "Where, Eric Andre?"
Oh. Oh, that sucks.
And dude's just like, dude, what? Come on.
Yeah, you did this. You did this. You created this energy. This is your monster to tame now. That's your problem forever. Okay. Well, anyway, that's all the things. And again, my opinion's garbage. Don't listen to me. But if you would like to watch more of Mortal Shell and Silent Hill, you can check out Wooly Versus on Twitch this week, as well as on YouTube. Yep.
Oh, yeah, I'm also going to stream some stuff. I go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. I'm going to stream some stuff. Hold on while I look up the stuff I'm going to stream because I forget. Okay, I'm going to do the Dishonored DLC. I'm going to do a day where I play Monolith, Zero Ranger, and Hunt Down. I'm going to take a look at that Earthbound game, Amori, and I'm going to play a Dark Souls mod called Convergence.
Okay. And yeah, in case anyone didn't hear, I thought I'm going to be waiting on the FF6 Pixel Remaster release. That's the reason why we haven't started yet, is because that shit ain't dropped yet. It's delayed till February. And and probably around the same time Elden Ring is going to drop as well. Therefore, we're just playing some short stuff in the meantime. So that's why we're doing what we're doing.
I'm kind of doing variety stuff because I'm in this weird spot where
time.
Elden Ring is going to be the entirety of March and maybe some of April. Assuming it doesn't get delayed again.
Just gotta wait. Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, let's take a quick word from the sponsors.
Let's do that.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by Green Chef. Green Chef is getting you healthy meal kits for whatever lifestyle you want. And you can feel good cooking because you can just steal all the valor of the actual brilliant chefs that are behind the scenes.
I made this.
Yeah. They're puppeteering. There's like little, they're standing behind you in spirit form. And they really did the heavy lifting, but you can feel good standing in front of the stove being like, yeah, I'm a chef.
It was me. I did it.
And of course, you get to eat healthy and you get to eat whatever suits your lifestyle. So if you're looking for gluten-free, vegetarian, vegan, or paleo or keto, which I'm going for that meat, you have all kinds of balanced meals or just, regular traditional gourmet. They got a huge range for whatever your preferences are. Convenient and easy. You're able to take a look at their sustainable meal kit. They've got, in addition to all the ingredients being pre-portioned, you're reducing food waste by at least 25% compared to grocery shopping. And if you're going with your premium proteins, your fresh produce, organic ingredients, they are doing they're the best with this. You got over 35 nutritious and flavorful options to choose every week. That's a lot of choices. And it's pretty straightforward when you go take a look at it. You pick how many people you want to prep a meal for, what kind of box you're feeling, and you just take a look at the plates and you see all kinds of amazing stuff. And you pick what you want, and then when it gets to your place, you just you do it, and then you present it, and then everybody goes, "Oh my God, you're like amazing."
I did it.
And you're like, "Yeah," and you can steal all that credit.
It was me.
That's the best part. That's the deal. I know that. Again, whenever I see a good keto recipe, I'm taking notes because I'm down with the meats. But what you want to do, if you're looking to get some healthy green eats on your table. Whoop, where'd that go? Hey, there you are. Okay. Go to greenchef.com/superbeast130 and use the code superbeast130 to get $130 off plus free shipping. That's greenchef.com/superbeast130 and use the code superbeast130 to get $130 off plus free shipping. That's America's #1 meal kit. Green Chef. Thank you, Green Chef.
I'm the Green Chef. Thank you, Green Chef.
We all are. This week as well, the podcast is sponsored by ExpressVPN. We've let you know in the past, but real simple. If some of you are out there leaving your window wide open, allowing random creeps to invade your privacy, in a digital sense, don't do that. That sucks. You got all kinds of things going on. You got ISPs that want to sell your info without your consent. You got them trying to target you with all your data. You've got video watching sites that are like you're not allowed to watch the coolest stuff because of where you live, and that sucks too. So ExpressVPN is all about avoiding all that garbage and keeping your
Don't look at my
online
data.
No, keep your online activity private, anonymized via a secure VPN server. It's also encrypted for maximum protection. I can tell you what, I was looking to watch some fun Christmas specials this Christmas, and I was not allowed to because of, we happen to belong to Canada, the great northern Commonwealth belonging country that was just said, nope, fuck you. You ain't allowed. You can't watch the Christmas stuff you want to watch. So I was like, fuck that. ExpressVPN, bam, boom, whap, Christmas is saved. And, of course, you fire up the app, click one button. Phones, laptops, even routers. So everyone who shares your Wi-Fi can be protected by it as well. You can secure your online activity by visiting expressvpn.com/superbeast today. That's expressvpn.com/superbeast, and you can get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/superbeast. Thanks, ExpressVPN.
Thanks, ExpressVPN.
The podcast this week is sponsored by Raycon, because of all the resolutions you're making going into this new year, really what you should be resolving to do is getting wires out of your life. Wires are literally the shackles that bind you, that hold you back from progress.
My New Year's resolution this year was to stay alive, and having wires is an affront to that resolution because I could choke and die on them.
These days, if I see a wire, I just cut it. I don't even know what it's plugged into or where it's going. I just cut the wire because I'm like, nah.
That's a bit hasty.
I don't like them. Bad wire. Why you getting in my space wires? Fuck a wire. Wires can eat shit. Anyway, keeping that same energy, Raycon wireless earbuds are the best way to bring your audio with you no matter where you go. They're secure. They don't fall out of your ears like some of the other garbage wireless earbud solutions out there. I know that I've felt that pain before. They've got awareness mode when you need to listen to your surroundings, so you can take them with you wherever you go. Perfect ear fit. You got the battery life, offering 8 hours of playtime on a 32-hour battery, and priced just right. You're getting excellent audio quality at half the price of the other premium audio brands. So, it's the way to go to get the wires out of your life. And Punch Mom is still just walking about. I mean, the other day she put put them down, and then came running back like, oh my god, I can't believe I almost forgot to take them with me, because they've become an essential. She's loving them. So right now, you can get 15% off of your Raycon order at buyraycon.com/superbeast. That's buyraycon.com/superbeast to get 15% on Raycon, to save 15%, on your Raycons. One more time, buyraycon.com/superbeast. Thanks, Raycon.
Thanks, Raycon.
And we got one more, real quick.
Oh.
This week's podcast is sponsored by DoorDash. If you are busy, if you're running low on time, if you're, if you're watching a whole lot of stuff, doing a whole lot of things, you can't get it sorted. Maybe you're putting up a Christmas tree, or taking it down, or putting the lights up, or whatever is going on.
Or leaving them up.
Leaving them up, and just leaving them up, and then leaving them up. Either way, DoorDash is here to hook you up, because you can get your hot food delivered real quick right to your door, no problem, from whatever locals you enjoy in your neighborhood. You can just pop the app open, scroll, and you'll see whatever's going on. And I'll tell you one thing, that list has been getting longer, because as we continue to re-enter the locked down times, and as things are getting more and more all about home delivery, I'm seeing a lot of restaurants that I did not see joining the list of DoorDash available spots. So absolutely the fastest and simplest way to get yourself your local eats safely and securely to your door. They've got the contactless delivery option. So you get a ding dong, you open the door, poof, like a ninja, they're gone, but your food is ready and waiting. And yeah, you can support whatever local spots that you used to. And if, of course, it's got your favorite chains. Over 300,000 partners. That's a whole lot of places to pick from. So take a look. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and zero delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code CASTLE2021. That's 25% off up to a $10 value and zero delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code CASTLE2021. It's still applicable. Don't worry about the year on that one. Don't forget code CASTLE2021 for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change. Terms apply. Thanks, DoorDash.
Thank you, DoorDash.
My mouth hurts. I need a sip.
Get yourself a sip.
Okay. What is going on? A couple of stories this week as well. They all kind of popped up in the last 2 days, really. Mm-hmm. There was a whole lot of quiet, and then suddenly, bam, things are going on. Okay, well, I'd say the biggest thing this week has been the Riot settlement. If you've heard about that, Riot
settled for $100 million.
Yes, so the 2018 the gender discrimination suit in California has settled for $100 million. $80 million will go towards the women and the employees and contractors at Riot who worked there between 2014 and now.
Do you know how many people that is?
Yes, that's 2,300 workers.
Okay, let's math it up.
But here's the thing. That's not all. Before you even math it, that's not a comprehensive amount, right? Because
all right.
A couple of the details are that they were agreeing to settle. They originally agreed to settle the suit in 2019 for $10 million, but then California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing intervened and said victims should be entitled to up to $400. So, fuck that. And then it went forward for the next 2 years until today, where they landed on the 100. The thing to note is that, so 2,300 workers are eligible to be part of the $80 million of the settlement. Former Riot employees who were fired but had to take severance out of a financial need and signed away their right to be part of the settlement when that happened. So there are people who were or would have been a part of this that when they were fired, if they were fired, agreed to take severance and basically signed away that ability with it. But the number of those eligible is at 2,300.
Well, it comes out to about 34,000 people total. Sorry, to $34,000 a person, which that's not nothing, but that's definitely not a year's worth of their salary.
For most jobs of this caliber, definitely below. Yes, not at all. Yeah, it's something. The argument again that California made was that 4 times that is a likelier value amount for what they were responsible for, but
likely why they settled.
I guess so.
Riot doesn't want to pay $400 million, and the people handling the lawsuit don't want to keep fighting this lawsuit for the next 15 years.
Yeah, well, the difference between 10 million and 400 is, Yeah, that you find a common ground somewhere in that. It easily could have been double that, but that's what they went with. Overall, the people who negotiated that are fairly happy with that outcome, and yeah, basically this is one of those big ones. I don't know if anything else was pending, but there might be like other individual smaller damage cases attached with these types of things. But it says, but the recap on this one is that Riot was mainly being looked at as, rather, they're mainly being sued from a class action discrimination suit because they had a ginormous record of treating women like shit. In short. So yeah, that happened this week.
Where would that be?
Riot Games?
No. You were saying maybe they won't treat women like shit?
No, that's not what I said. I said they had a history of.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I for some my brain completely heard maybe they can find employment elsewhere, somewhere where they don't treat women like shit, and my brain goes like fucking where?
No, I didn't say that.
My mistake. My cynicism is now changing what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
You think Riot will improve after being forced to pay a settlement of like less than 1% of their yearly net?
Nowhere in this does it talk about a like cleansing out of the people. So no, at certain points the beast is too big. The beast is too big. There's nothing to be said or done here. And I don't even know what the Blizzard version of this looks like, but like when it's that big, it's that deep root, the rot is settled in, like they're Bobby Kotick is basically like hunkering down to not leave. It's like,
the Blizzard version. Recently there was a guy that I think he finally got kicked out of Blizzard like last week or something. I forget the details or his name, but he was a dude that just literally hung out all day in like conspiracy alt-right discords at work and would bother people at work. And he's apparently one of the first 16 Blizzard employees. And in interviews, people were like, I didn't know what that dude's job was. Because all he does is hang out in these fucking crazy fucking discords and talk shit at us.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not much to be said except for this is gonna take a really long time.
But for real though, the Blizzard version of this story is talent drain. Anybody that is not personally responsible for this and has a decent CV is just running from the company.
The term,
because they can get a job somewhere else.
The often used term is churn.
Yeah.
When employees just fucking hit the revolving door.
Churn's a real good term. It was invented by some businessman to obfuscate the fact that people sign up and quit fast. To obfuscate the question of why do you burn through employees? Oh no, it's just churn. It's part of the industry.
Yeah. Well, because it goes hand in hand with the design structure where crunch is an inevitability unless it's actively fought against.
Speaking of, is Ken Levine's shit on the fucking docket today?
It wasn't. I was gonna just briefly mention the part where people at Blizzard are shocked at the amount of people leaving. They've never seen anything like it. This is the highest it's ever been in terms of churn. But no.
Okay, so I've been seeing people talk about this today, people that I trust that are basically describing how the game he is currently making is like years away and that there's basically nothing made. And then they go back to old interviews where he describes the finding the fun part of development, and employees on his current project are really frustrated because the way that Ken Levine designs a game is to, quote, let the game almost run out of time, and then you have to make the hard decisions about what to put in the game. And the description of him coming in after having played Dead Cells and being like, this should be more like Dead Cells, and just throwing out people, like, months of people's work. Like, how Bioshock Infinite was basically made in, like, 6 months. They just took all the assets that they had that worked and just jammed them in.
Jesus Christ.
Failing upward. You remember how Bioshock Infinite was in development for like 8 years and cost hundreds of millions of dollars and then came out and was mid?
So that's the thing is, I wish we can get timelines that are more accurate on those types of stories, because it's like, no, but how long was spent on the version that shipped? Because there's timelines where you go this hard and then the game you're seeing is not a product of that many years.
Yeah.
There's a kill and a restart, and that's the real timeline.
Like, Anthem was in development for 5 years. Really? The game that came out was in development for 5 years? No, actually, that one was in development for 8 months.
Yeah, so these numbers, you know. Like,
it reminds me of, let's take everybody's favorite Resident Evil 4.
Cyberpunk? Oh.
No, Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 was back in the day before AAA, as it were. It was just a big budget Capcom game. Okay. Resident Evil 1.9 becomes Resident Evil 3. Okay. Resident Evil 4 becomes Devil May Cry. Resident Evil 4 becomes Haunting Ground. Resident Evil 4 becomes a somewhat shittier version of Resident Evil 4 that gets reworked into Resident Evil 4. You know what the important part of those games are? They fucking came out. They got called different shit, but they fucking came out. They didn't take a year's worth of fucking work and just throw it in the trash. They did that once with Resident Evil 2, and everyone on that was like, we can never do this again.
RE4
never do this again.
RE4 was a platform in and of itself.
And all the games that came from RE4 were good.
That's crazy.
Right? Because they were like their ideas and their documentation was pseudo complete. It was just like, this isn't going to be really a good Resident Evil game. Maybe it could be just something different. The general way to do it now is like have teams work on it for like 3 years and like, what do you got? And they're like, I don't know, whatever. Do you have a playable level? No. Like Skull and Bones. Oh man, Skull and Bones. That one's going to be the one forever. They're contractually obligated by a foreign government to finish it, and there's nothing. That game has nothing to show for it.
I just want the boat.
Somebody in the chat says Skull and Bones is dead. No, it's not. They have to finish it.
Give me the boat. Just let me boat and shanty. Boat and shanty. That's it. That's all.
I think it's Taiwan that they're making it there.
I forget.
Or it's either Taiwan or Singapore. I forget which, but they took like a tax break from the government to build the game there. So the game has to come out or else that government gets to fuck them over.
But yeah, no, just I was just
Singapore, okay.
To quote Josh Foreman from Super Bunny Hop put out a video recently talking about stuff during the pandemic and remote work in companies and then rollback, and I stepped in to talk about rollback for him in the video for a bit.
Is it you just saying the word rollback 30 times?
It is. It's me just saying the word rollback over the course of about 5-10 minutes, give or take. But there's a part of the video where he's also talking about like the companies and studios that learn to work from home, and Josh Foreman in it basically talks about crunch and how it's like the way to look at things as like a crunch in studios that are set up this way is an inevitability unless management actively fights against it, you know. So that means churn is an inevitability unless management actively fights against it. And if they don't see the downside to just refreshing the batteries that have died, then why would they consider that a problem? You know,
one of the things Doc's been talking about on his Twitter that's quite interesting is about auteur theory and how game journos are absolutely miserable at defining people as auteurs. In that you see in interviews now they'll call Ken Levine an auteur, which like he's not, and like the number one feature of a quote unquote auteur is that you can tell their work from a glance. You can tell, like, put Death Stranding in front of somebody with no otherwise knowledge. They will, within 5 minutes, they'll be like, "Is this a Hideo Kojima game?" Right? Absolutely, 100%. Same thing with Cage, ironically enough. And the number one thing for most auteurs is that you can tell it's them because they always work with the same people. And usually they work with the same people because they're fun to work with. It's a good creative team endeavor. Right? So Kojima Productions, you mean the team he wholesale lifted from that company and kept working with?
Well, you know what I saw earlier this week? It's funny you say that because I was looking when I was getting Silent Hill all set up, and I'm looking at PT, and I see, score Ludwig Forssell. I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know? It's funny, though, because the word auteur, like, I feel like I've never used it because I don't feel like I can use it accurately. But I guess, Kojima.
Like Jackie Chan is one. Jackie Chan's team, his stunt team, when he makes a Jackie Chan movie, is like from the directing is very obviously this is a Jackie Chan movie right now.
Well, when you say a blank movie, the name blank is who it would be, because the director of Jackie Chan's movies is not Jackie Chan always, but it's still called a Jackie Chan movie because that's what the authorship,
it has a certain overall feel that's very common with the person. Right? Ken Levine don't got that because motherfucker churns people like crazy. That his fucking Bioshock Infinite shipped and his whole team disintegrated.
Yeah, the other thing too is when there is someone on the team or a number of people on the team, if you could see like the behind the scenes and see like how tight and close they are specifically, and like these people are getting along in a way that like they click and they understand it. So you know what's analogous and topical is if you ever watch the making of The Matrix back in the day, the visual effects, like, so when you see the Wachowskis working with John Gaeta, who was responsible for the visual effects in the original trilogy, like the way that they approach problems and then create wild, unorthodox solutions and get to a point where they're just like, we trust you with this, and it's like, okay, don't worry, John's gonna figure it out, it'll look cool. And there's a thing there where it blends nicely because that signature of what he did like is as equally important as everything else going on with those movies that the Wachowskis did. So when you go on and then he's not there in the new thing, but you are trying to do the same things, then you're gonna feel the absence of him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What a mess. That game's gonna go wildly over budget and come out fucking mid. Kudos to anybody working on that.
Kudos to the rise of the word mid, which required no explanation the moment it became a thing.
It's just a faster way to say mediocre. It's just faster.
It's like you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that's
instant.
And then it hits the machine and becomes like mid as fuck, and you're like, yep, yeah, I get it. All right.
Like Igarashi's an auteur. Hinorobu Sakaguchi's an auteur. Like, These people, they make a game, and you just touch it, and you're like, oh yeah, definitely.
Yoko Taro, Tetsuya Mizuguchi, the other Gooch.
Used to be that the doctors over at BioWare were auteurs. Back in the day.
Suda and Swery. All of them.
Toby Fox, definitely. Paige would be mad at me if I didn't say Toby Fox. Definitely. 100%.
Yeah, just, the when you can apply a Spike Lee joint to the game. Yeah. All right, so there was that going on with the BioShocks and the riots. Other things going on. There was this one was a bit confusing because I guess I wasn't fully paying attention, but achievement list that popped up that leaks the implication of a GoldenEye 007 release coming to Xbox.
I've known that that's existed for years and years, but it's been held up.
No,
for all sorts of licenses.
No, we all knew, but it's confusing because here's what happened because there's a backstory you have to kind of like track down. Everyone heard about it because there was an initial announcement.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I know that happened
years ago, right? Well over a fucking decade ago, they were like, oh yeah, they're gonna do a remaster of the N64 version of the game. Then it got canceled, and disappeared. And then they made a game in 2010 that was called GoldenEye 007, but it was not the same game. And that came out on multiple platforms, and it was a completely different thing, but it had the name. And then like some people were like, "Oh, is this supposed to be the GoldenEye remake?" And it's like, it's not really. And it was being more so compared to like Battlefield and Call of Duty at the time. So the actual remake of the N64 game never fucking went anywhere. Then suddenly it leaked online out of nowhere when it was a 360 version or so, a couple, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And now there's an achievement list for this getting dropped on Xbox with the full list of achievements, and the screenshots in the achievements look like the fucking N64 game. So it's pretty much gonna happen. No Switch port probably, but hey, the good GoldenEye is about to drop at the very least.
Now everyone can see how much worse it is than Perfect Dark. You knew I was gonna do it.
Had to get it in there.
You knew I was gonna
Had to do it.
I did it. Music's better in GoldenEye though. It's really good.
Well, the fucking everything is, but fuck off. We're not doing this Perfect Dark versus GoldenEye wars.
I don't have to.
Because
That's
Perfect
how right
Darkers
I
are
am.
fucking wrong. GoldenEye rules. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, GoldenEye absolutely did rule. And then Perfect Dark came out and totally invalidated
And GoldenEye
it.
still rules. Speaking of first-person shooters that rule, you know what else rules? When a bunch of people get together and say fuck it, Titanfall 2, Northstar client, we're doing it.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
So, fucking incredible, amazing, awesome, good news. Northstar is a mod that you can apply to Titanfall 2. Specifically, it's a modding framework that lets you host your own servers. And because you could host your own server, A, you can play the game again. Yay!
Without all the nightmare.
B, you can put in custom content or vanilla content, whatever you want, including this fucking rad sick example of a custom server change where every round start is not dropping out of the dropship, but is BT doing a fucking fastball special, throwing you onto the map in full sprint.
I think Titanfall 2 is my personal pick for the best dead game.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. I'll take that. I'll take
Like, is
whatever
that
the
a
fuck.
category we can have? Because it's real good and dead.
I mean, whatever best, whatever you want to stipulate, I'll accept. Because boy, it took a while, and maybe the team here might have been holding out for hope that something official would have happened, but it's clear that it ain't, and it's clear that the news of the servers of the first game are going to push people into action here. So, fuck yeah to the Northstar team. Custom servers means this gets to live. It gets to live as long as anyone wants it to.
For at least 2 or 3 months.
And it gets
to shut it down.
Well, we'll see if that's an easy thing for them to do.
I don't know, man. It's actually weirdly difficult to shut down private servers like that. Like, there's always WoW private servers.
Absolutely,
you can join always.
And this has been a thing for other dead games, right? But with this case, though, the addition of the ability to like modify, put cool shit, like maybe, right, we can be looking at like something where custom Titans changes, like whatever the fuck, who knows? I don't know where this goes, but it's a very exciting thing that not only is Titanfall 2 now playable, but it's customizable and moddable in this way for the foreseeable future. That's fucking exciting. Kudos to that team.
Big kudos.
Dude, like the clip is just like you see the fastball special and they come in sprinting at max and you just go right into the hot zone. Just everyone moving quickly. It's incredible. Goddamn. That's good.
I just ate a piece of cheese.
Nice.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thanks for the cheese.
Baby Bell?
Hmm?
Baby Bell?
I don't know what that is.
It's the cheese with the red wrapper on it. The cheese.
Nah, man. It's like sharp cheddar.
Okay. Atlus reported a couple of things. One, SMT5 sold more than any other titles in the series at 800,000 copies. So
that's great.
Sure. And with that comes them renewing a bunch of domains for unannounced P5 projects.
Mm-hmm.
So initially, when Strikers was just a trademark, it was listed as P5AG. So people interpreted that to be P5 action game.
Mm-hmm.
So the other things they re-upped were P5M and P5B. So at a guess, P5M might be P5 mobile.
Music.
Could be. And P5B being battle could be something. Something with battles in them.
Yeah, maybe.
But they are re-upping at least 2 more P5 games coming this way.
I'm kind of shocked you didn't have their other announcement in there. I saw you retweet it. Where they did an interview with the Atlus devs and they talked about how they didn't think they were going to put they didn't think they were going to put rollback.
We talked about that last week
in it until they gave modders a chance to fix it for them.
Yes. Yeah. Right. The update to the the update to the story. True. My mistake. The update to the Ultimax story is, they gotta wait and see if modders get on it first.
Think of all the work they'd waste if the modders made it better.
Yeah,
it'd feel really silly.
Man, I was labbing this week, and I just decided to, I'm like, you know what? Let me set this up the way that the community has been doing it on Discord, and they've basically got it running on desktop. You're just fucking emulating and playing, and then doing a parsec connection. And I'm like,
so jank.
And I'm just like, yeah, but when I want to fucking grab it and set it up, I don't want to plug my PS3 in, so this is what I'm doing. And
apparently there's a gentleman named Milpy. I'm not super familiar with them. I think Lythero retweeted him onto my timeline, or maybe it was you. But dude's just going, I'm gonna post a daily video of the netcode in Ultimax.
Oh, Moopoke. Yeah. That's
Moopoke. And just like
Yeah.
Dude, this thing is trash.
I mean, it is a noble endeavor to basically say, I'm going to provide the world with examples of how bad these matches can get if we don't get better netcode for them. Exactly.
Like just the part where that like somebody will block like a fucking Shoryu off you, and the game just freezes for 3 seconds, giving everybody time to figure out what they're gonna do.
Yeah. So, anyway, but that last bit, by the way, it's from the option select, which is a fighting game based onion.
Yes.
Solid bit on that. Yeah. Atlus has things to say. They're not the only ones with things to say, as the year turns.
Here we go.
I remember I talked about when I was at Squeenix when Wada stepped down and Matsuda stepped in, and the president, the square leader, Squeenix leader, basically the change in ideology and the differences were such that Wada was being too bold, and he was going against what some of the board and what some of the investors, so to speak, would have wanted, and anyway, there's a whole complex thing to that. But here was what we got. We got the New Year letter.
You kids heard of the cloud?
NFTs.
Our cloud's gonna be the best.
NFTs.
Whatever happened with that?
Coming big and strong to the Squeenix. It's kind of funny that it's like the New Year's message, because it's the biggest, hardest commitment to it ever.
Literally the very first thing of game news I saw this year.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that goes over about as well as you can expect.
So do you have the quote? Because the quote's wild.
I have the 3-page thing.
Okay, hold on. Sir, can you control F it?
Yep. No, I can't. It's a JPEG.
Okay. Oh God. Because there's the quote.
I can control F it now. What am I looking for?
The word fun.
Fun. Okay. As in not a non-fungible token, but okay. I realize that some people who play to have fun, and those who currently form the majority of players, have voiced their reservations towards these new trends, and understandably so. However, I believe that there will be a certain number of people with whose motivation to play to contribute, by which I mean help to make the game more exciting.
I can understand that people who play games to enjoy themselves are worried, but what if money...
Kotaku got together a bunch of quotes from Japan's message board responses. Yeah. And they're all just like, well, like, if this is an announcement that Square Enix is finished, is the first one. And I was just like, so Jesus Christ, like
it says to say that the Square Enix put out a mobile game a little while ago, a Japanese mobile game, and that had NFTs in it. Mm-hmm. And their NFTs sold out. And they did a second batch of NFTs. So that's their one use case.
Mm-hmm.
And they went, see, look, it's a big success. Mm-hmm. And the number one thing to take away from that is that Japanese mobile game consumers are not anyone else. That is a very, very different market.
I think the other thing that's a takeaway that is something to introduce to this conversation, because otherwise every week it's just here's the latest, here's where it's going, here's who's doing it, is an idea that I've seen discussed a couple places, where at first I was like, who's going around, which crypto bro is coming into the board meeting and talking to them? And it's the thought is that it's likely investors that are aware of the trend, that are pressuring the companies that they're invested in.
And investors don't care about anything than new investment opportunities. So
Of course.
NFT looks like free money.
Yeah. So, when just like we would all like take pain of the people yelling at Iwata back in the day when you would have to read through those logs, similar to now, it'd be like, why can't you become a different kind of company than the company you've been for the whole time that I invested in?
Why can't you just make become a company that just makes money? Which is what Konami did.
Yeah. Stop
Konami
making
literally
games.
did that.
Stop making games and become a different thing.
And then COVID annihilated the patchy slot market while enormously growing the video game market. Oops.
And the problem, of course, is that there's no real way to ever you can never escape the dumb, they don't give a fuck about what you're making investor ideologies and pressure. At best, you can do what Iwata did, which is, yeah, thank you, got it, okay, all right, we're looking into it, got it, okay, all right, moving along, So that's probably going to continue to be as cancerous and loud as it has ever. And when it's coming from the people who are bankrolling, the hands are even more tied than you would expect.
So I can just viscerally feel, like you were describing, investors or maybe even a couple board members, right? Just becoming hardcore crypto bros and needing to be appeased, right? My prediction for this is the same as many others. Much like Square Enix's cloud service, this is a new trend that will not make any money, and people who have ultimate control probably know it won't make any money. So they're going to make a studio for it, and they're going to say, we're developing something.
Make an announcement to make them happy.
And they're gonna just blow $100 million fucking dollars into appeasing 3 guys in the board meeting, and it will nothing will happen. Like absolutely nothing. Like
Maybe.
Our one use case is Ubisoft just did it, and it was a total failure.
The quartz. Yeah, it could literally just be a, here is our side thing to make you happy, and that'll be that. Could be.
Also, as the number one feeling off of this is the hypocrisy, because one of the reasons that Final Fantasy XIV is currently undergoing server shortage is because of crypto in general. There's also the semiconductor shortage, yada yada, but it's totally self-defeating. And the worry of some, I saw a really funny post today. There's a healer ability called Rescue, where you just grab a person and you can yank them towards you. It's to save them. You can use Rescue to kill people by pulling them towards you off the edge of something, or pulling them into an AoE that will kill them for sure, etc. And people are talking about, if FF14 gets NFTs, I will roll a healer, and anytime I see somebody with an NFT, I will use Rescue to kill them. And it's like, whoopsie doodle. That being said, the worry, particularly of FF14 being like, their online big service game being ripe for NFTization, it can't. It actually can't have NFTs put into it for a couple of reasons. One, the game is still running on the absolute worst engine of all time. Any change to it of a significant nature would break it. But two, there are millions and millions and millions of people who own FF14 on Steam, which does not allow crypto transactions or NFTs of any kind.
True.
And you cannot buy standalone expansions and use them with your Steam copy. your Steam copy has to buy Steam versions of the expansions because of the way
Okay.
the account system works. So unless they want to get rid of 9 million subscribers
The
or some shit,
platform stops it from being a possibility. And
Yeah.
furthermore, it stops anything Square is currently doing from being on Steam.
yeah,
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a future for mobile.
Yeah.
Is what I see.
I mean, there's definitely an energy of quiet dread on Twitter at the very least, where it's like, okay, which company is going to come out and disappoint you today? And that'll continue to be the case. But there's one person who apparently won't, and that's good old Joseph Fares.
Oh, I love you, Yosef.
I'd rather get shot in the knee than include NFTs in the games.
That dude is so for real.
He's the realist. He's the realist.
The realest man in video games.
So there you go. Holding it down.
Yeah, as Kai9 in our chat points out, now that dude is a fucking auteur.
Oh, yeah, to use the word. Yeah. Yeah.
God damn it.
It's just it unfortunately is going to sound pretentious every time the word is used. However, I don't think I'm going to start using it.
Yeah. I don't know.
But there's a meaning to it.
Like
there's
Kojima in video games and Miyamoto, right, are just like they're the definition of the word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? And or Scorsese, right? Like, oh, hey, it's time for another Scorsese movie that's going to be about the mob, and it's going to have the same 10 incredible actors that are going to keep making Scorsese movies before they die.
In fact, the movie's about them getting old and dying.
Ah, crap.
Don't look too hard, as we're supposed to be convinced. Oh god, shoutouts to
like
shitty movie details where they're like, in this scene in The Irishman, you know, like you can see as Robert De Niro is de-aged with technology in a way that tries to convince audiences that this is not an old man giving weak kicks to a dude on the floor.
Oh man. I just like, okay, you're watching a movie, right? You're watching a movie, okay? And Sam Jackson walks out and he's yelling at somebody. And then Sam Jackson walks away and it pans down to some lady's big ass feet. Who's directing?
An
if
auteur.
You can answer that question.
An auteur.
Then that person's an auteur.
Auteur. All right. Last one over here, and it's and this brings something interesting up. Some time ago in the 2000 to 2003.
That was back in the day, man. Oh,
sure was. They were working on a Harry Potter MMO.
Oh yeah.
And this had what was it? Yeah. This had some big ambitious plans for it. They were expecting to they built out a full beta. They had it as a combination online offline experience, and the goal was to have a game where you would actually get prizes and ribbons in the mail as a part of this game. Thoroughly researched, and there was a team that was confident, but EA killed it off because they did not believe the IP would have shelf life longer than a year or two.
That's pretty funny.
And I don't think they were wrong. Like, what was in mid 2000 to 2003? What was a Harry Potter MMO that's mailed you real gifts, destined to become? You know, like, was that not the same era that led to the Kinect games? And
it was
like, yeah. So
I always thought it was weird that MMO, like in like like had MMO style races which determine your stats. That was really weird. And it kept asking you if your character was male or female over and over and over in character creation. It was really bizarre.
Yeah. So, you know what, EA? Probably a good call on that one. All right.
Fucking J.K. Rowling, such a fucking stupid bitch.
Not an author? No?
Yeah, so, you know what? I remember back when J.K. was...
JK.
Back in the day, when it was like, wow, she was homeless, and she wrote a cool big book, and that's pretty cool, and that is genuinely interesting. Except, have you heard? Have you heard of the book Larry Potter?
Larry Barr?
Larry Potter.
Larry Potter. I have not heard of Larry Potter.
In 1999, American author Nancy Kathleen Stouffer alleged copyright and trademark infringement of Rowling of her 1984 works The Legend of Ra and the Muggles and Larry Potter and his best friend Lily.
Wait, really?
Yup. Here's the wiki link.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh my god. Okay, that's a huge article. All right. Yeah.
Larry Potter was a bespectacled boy with the dark hair.
Okay. You know, I heard there was a thing about that with the Matrix as well. Was someone who like there's I think a lady wrote a script and was saying that the Matrix and Terminator 2 both like had taken from it or were inspired by it, and it was like it was older than both scripts, but I don't know what happened legally with that. But this sounds very similar. Muggles. The word Muggles was used
in 1984. In the original thing, Muggles were a race of mutant humanoids.
That's not good. Okay. Well, sure.
She's a thief. Allegedly.
Yeah, that's a big read. Okay. All I know is Reggie came in hot last week, just going, man, fuck Harry Potter. I watched all those movies. That shit was dog shit.
Even as a child,
he was so angry at them, and I was like, I've only seen one or two, but damn, he was mad. It was pretty funny.
Even as a child, dude, I remember like reading it and be like, why is this Korean girl named Cho Chang? That's fucking weird. That's fucking weird.
I think he called it like unbelievably normie shit.
He's right. Why is there an elf that just loves being a slave?
Dobby.
What is up with that? What is up? Why does everyone treat Hermione like a freak when she's like, maybe we shouldn't have chattel slavery of these magical creatures?
Chattel slavery. Chattel slavery specifically.
Oh yeah, straight up.
Specifically,
the only black person in Harry Potter is a guy named Shacklebolt.
Yeah! Hell yeah! Oh, that's great. All right. If you've got a letter and you want to send it in, you can send it in to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
It is. It's true.
We got one over here. Coming in. Man, could you... I thought the worst of it was the wizards poop where they stand into their clothes.
And that was like post-release.
Yeah. No, I know. That's what I mean, you know? And it's like, oh, how does it just keep going? Well, anyways. Here's one coming in from Drew. Hello, subpar best custards. After hearing Pat's technical problems with Back for Blood, I decided I'd share a similar story. Friend and I fired up Aliens Fireteam for the PC Game Pass. We both did the first mission and then tried to join. I sent a few invites and accepted a couple, but they seemed to do nothing. My friend went to tab out to look at the forums, only to notice that he had 7 versions of the game running, and I looked and I found 4 versions running on my computer.
What?
Not a single combination of those instances were in the same lobby. We both uninstalled and ironically fired up Back for Blood. Happy 2022. It's good. It's good when you send an invite to somebody and it just creates a new instance of the game.
Crobecat put out a recent video that is comparing Back for Blood to Left 4 Dead and shows off a lot more than what I saw, which is that all the leads on Left 4 Dead were all Valve employees, not Turtle Rock employees.
Oh.
And and just shows off like the developer commentary for Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, where they talk about how it was really important to get this right and really important to get this right, and then super cuts it with footage of that shit not being in Back 4 Blood at all.
They weren't the primary team.
No, they were, but it was all Valve people in the lead.
Okay.
Lead writer Mark Laidlaw was the lead writer.
Right. Okay.
The senior technical guy, the creative design, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
The people steering the ship.
Yeah. We got one here coming from Scott. Says, hey, greetings. Wooly Blackface is awesome. Madden and Pat, fighting games were a net negative in my life. Boyvin. Scott here.
You do love blackface, it's true.
Whether or not they're a net negative remains to be seen.
Me and Wooly, just the other day, we were trading. I was browsing TikTok. I'm like, I gotta send this to you. And then you traded me a blackface video back.
Instantly.
And you had it ready! What the fuck?
You never know when the time comes. You gotta keep them ready to shoot, you know? I work at a senior living center, and every Tuesday and Friday is game.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. Every Tuesday and Friday is game day, where the residents and even some of the employees with permission are permitted to play the Wii and the TV lounge. Most of the time, there's residents and other employees that'll want to play Wii bowling. But to be honest, it's not that big of a surprise. But I did notice one day, however, that the TV lounge has a small collection of Wii games set aside. Curiosity got the best of me, and I took a peek. Among them were games that would absolutely not be out of place in an old folks' home. Including Wii Sports, Wii Fit, Wii Play. But then there were some that were more out there that would still feasibly be present. For example, New Super Mario Brothers, or Mario Party 8, Link's Crossbow Training, Lego Star Wars, etc. And then there were titles that I never would have expected, including Smash Brawl, Donkey Kong Country Returns, and I shit you not, Sin and Punishment Star Successor.
Yeah!
Not only was there save data on the game, it was really close to the end. Um, have you ever been surprised by a gamer colleague, even a parent has played? Much love from Scott. Games for old people. First of all, shout outs to that old fuck that got through Sin and Punishment, or almost did. That's awesome. That's really cool. What would be good gaming for an old folks home? For the Wii? Maybe
The
like
only thing,
Pikmin 3?
maybe the only thing I can think of that would qualify as this is my dad, which was coming downstairs and realizing he had spent the entire evening learning how to bowl perfect games one after another in Wii bowling.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was nothing. And the other thing where he's like, yeah, I don't really play video games. And then I'll go downstairs and he's like playing the 1998 version of Risk on the PC at maximum difficulty.
Oh, Jesus.
And just crushing it. And I'm
Holy
like,
fuck.
okay, sure, Dad. He's
He's
like,
a
well, that's
fiend.
different. It's Risk. It's a board game. I'm like,
He's a
okay,
fiend.
whatever,
He's-
Dad.
Secretly. Okay. Okay, if Pikmin 3 was Wii U, you know what? How about Beatles Rock Band?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'd play that. That'd work out. Beatles Rock Band would be a good fit. Dokapon Kingdom, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's what you got to unleash on Grandma. There, that's good.
They'll cut each other. They don't care.
Nothing left to lose. They got STDs eating away at their lower half. You think they won't fucking slice you? Got one coming in from Pultra. Says, dear purple and red moss clumps. That's pretty good. I just dueled Wooly and Teppen with my high-cost green-only X-Heart Assist deck against your Gaia armor. That was dirty as fuck, bro, but I promise if I had God draws in that match, I would have had you. I'm upset, but it was a fun match.
That's great.
Yeah. Green numbers get stupid high when played in and my hate for the black deck insta kills always turn me off. Akuma Ascension is for the weak. Have you or Pat or anyone by extension had a moment where you realized that the thing that you hate might open up interesting strategies if you suck it up and become your own villain?
Yep.
That's what I did. That's exactly what I did in Teppen. And GG's, Pultra. I'm sure you probably would have. I don't remember the match, but I'll believe you in that if you had good draws, it would have went differently.
I have 100%. 100%. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. Fine, I'll use it because I have to. Oh, no, wait, it's good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is building in Fortnite.
Oh, you have to do it.
Okay, so here's the thing. You don't have to do it. You should probably do it. I would compare it to using EXs. It's not.
Can you just learn how to fight it?
Yes. In fact, most of the time that people started to, I don't know what to call it. How did Gene say it? He said, I hate it when I shoot somebody and they start gentrifying the map. So
that's good shit. That's good shit, Gene. That's good.
So like sometimes you shoot somebody and they just turn into a 10-story building like instantly.
Yeah.
And it's a little tough because high ground is always better, but the extreme low ground is also valuable. Because if you break the absolute bottom of a structure, the whole thing falls apart. And if you can do that, like if they're 10 stories above you and you're directly below them, there's no way they can actually hit you.
Okay.
And so then it becomes like, you come down. No, you come up here. No, you come down. And then it becomes like who can get the drop on who when somebody gets impatient.
Right.
I put up a lot of. I was like beating up the kids and put up a lot of clips of people making gigantic fortresses only to peek their head out and get shot.
But it's a laming it out method.
The number one use for 99% of the time that you would ever make something in Fortnite is really simple. It's I'm being shot and I'm in a completely open field. Build a tiny ramp in front of you,
some kind of cover,
so that there's just something. So that you don't die in 1 second.
Right. Okay.
And then peek over the top, or heal up, or whatever.
So the exact example that this friend here is citing is the deck that I'm currently using, which it's my own build, but it's a hybrid of shit that killed me, because I went into a fight and was using my normal deck before this, and then I came across basically so X, as in Mega Man X, has a super that allows you to no longer be able to target anyone on the board on the enemy side. So it has very limited usage. However, you take a couple of cards that are there. Okay, there's one card in specific, which is every time you heal your hero, heal every card up. Give every card on your side like +2 or 3 HP or something like that. There's another card that's the exact opposite, which is every time you heal your hero, give everything on your team +2 or 3 attack. Mm-hmm. And then there's a card in the middle, which is every 5 seconds heal the hero by 1. So you have these 3 cards, and you have a whole bunch of heal myself consumable things, throwaway like action cards, and then you basically combine that with self-damaging buffs. So I took some self-damaging buffs and went like, take 3 damage, buff this card, take 3 damage, buff that card. And then I hurt myself, and then I dropped these 3 on the board, and I put the super on where you can't target any of my cards, and then sit back and watch as they just heal and get ridiculous numbers into infinity, because it all stacks together, and then that's the end of the game. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. But
it's a combo deck.
Yes, but it is defeated by not getting those 3 cards early enough or late enough. Like if they're all at the bottom of my deck,
sounds like you're cheating, man.
Sounds like it. But I came across a version of that and got rocked so quickly that I'm like, nuh-uh, that was too fast. I need to know what's going on here. And then now I'm using that. So embracing the evil is exactly what I did.
Congratulations.
Yeah, although I like I do appreciate the Tep and Scrub quote mail. That's pretty fun. That's I like that. I like that coming in. Last quick one here from Jose, who says, "What's up, fools? Just wanted to share a story about a small FGC community in Mexico. When I was a kid, probably around 10 or 11, Mom took me to her small hometown in Mexico. There was a local store being operated out of someone's house. It was an arcade cabinet with hundreds of games on it. Local kids were gathering around, spending what little money they had to play KOF all afternoon. I don't recall which one. It was 98. It was 98. You don't have to ask. It was 98. Yeah. I don't recall which one they played, but it was always the same one each time. They would even do mini tournaments amongst each other for a bag of chips or a drink from the store. When they were playing for fun, they would always go the full 3 rounds to maximize the play time. I played with them, and I got my ass beat. Without knowing, the children in town actually started their own little FGC all around one game and one single cabinet. So just so you know, that's not a unique situation. That happened everywhere, all throughout Mexico. And that was, in fact, a lot of arcades, up here too, even. Like, arcades in general kind of had that little thing going on where there was a little vibe. There might be a piece of paper stuck to the side of the cabinet that says, hey, there's a tournament on Saturday, or Rugal is banned. Fuck you, don't pick him.
It's the good old days.
Yeah. I know people are thinking it might be 2002, but I'm guessing if this person is saying when they were 10 or 11, it was probably an older version, so I'm defaulting to 98 on that.
I don't know,
But
man. They could be 16 and they're talking about King of Fighters 12.
they could be. But yes, the Mexican KOF child tournament at the local arcade is not a unique phenomenon. And that shit's awesome. That's what it's all about, man. Very cool. I would ask that, like, if it were up to me, I would say if you're gonna ban Rugal, then at least force Athena to turn the volume down, so you don't have to hear her.
God, awful, just awful.
Okay, what's going on this week again, Pat? Recap for anybody.
Oh God, I'm playing all sorts of bunch of shit this week. Oh God, it's twitch.tv/Pat Stares At. It's gonna be the Dishonored 1 DLC, Monolith Zero Ranger Hunt Down, Amori. I think that's about pizza. And Dark Souls 3 Convergence. I'm not going to be streaming Tuesday. That's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday schedule. I'm not streaming on Tuesday because I have to wake up early tomorrow morning to get online when the server goes live and hit the market board before the other crazies.
Sounds good.
It doesn't. It's going to suck.
Okay, well. Meanwhile, gonna be continuing Silent Hill. Probably gonna go maybe 3-4 sessions with that. I think we're taking our time. We're not blasting through it particularly quickly.
How many sessions have you done so far?
2. And I know there's 8 chapters.
You have 1 or 2 left.
Okay. So Silent Hill will resume, as well as Mortal Shell, which, again, I think they said how long to beat is about 10, 11 hours or so. So we'll see how long we get through that. And then, of course, fighting games. Going to pick some fun stuff.
What fighting game is fun?
Well, I mean...
Are you sure?
We might just kill the whole thing. Fuck it. It's canceled.
That's it for us, huh?
Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.